Futures back to the downside here this morning ahead of a key jobs data print coming up at 8:30 this morning. We'll get non-farm payrolls from last month. We are expecting quite the decline. 59,000 is the expectation. If you remember, we came in much higher than expected last month, 130,000. So are we estimating too low, or are we actually beating by a substantial margin? We'll talk about that coming up. Again, 8:30 is the time for that print. Meanwhile, more concerns about Middle East tensions continuing once again this morning. Oil above $85. Crude really absolutely tearing this morning in the pre-market, specifically the futures. Some of the actual producers, yeah, they're higher, but not as much as crude itself. So we'll talk about that. Big earnings beat for MRVL. Looks great here this morning. Nice move to the upside through to $85. A couple other things reporting as well. COST. Interesting report, a little bit on the weak side here for Costco. I want to get into that as well, but overall the number is still monstrous. And ho-hum, I didn't see Randy this morning yet, but Ford has another recall.
Another recall, Brendo.
Yeah.
Several 100,000 cars in focus. Yeah, to build on your point there with respect to the Middle East, also Maersk, which is kind of a bellwether for shipping, guys. They have suspended 2 of its container shipping routes in response, of course, to the threats in the Middle East and the Gulf region, which is highlighting the ongoing disruption and the global tensions. All but closed is the Strait of Hormuz, so something to keep an eye out there. Another name you could possibly look at is Boat. That is the ETF for shipping, but there's a whole lot to talk about, Brando. Marvell kind of following in the footsteps of Broadcom, showing that the custom silicon game is alive and kicking and really booming here. If we had better market conditions, these would be bigger moves.
Definitely. Shout out to Sean, mentioned that one yesterday. Non-farm payrolls, guys, just to recap here ahead of this number coming up at 8:30. Again, 59,000 the expectation here. If you remember, 130,000 was the print last time. It was much higher than expected. Market loved that, ripped on it. Again, I'll ask the question here. Are we estimating too low, or are we actually beating by a substantial mark here?
It's really hard to know, man. I mean, like, look at some of these headlines that we get in, the Jack Dorsey tweet and the layoffs from Amazon and everywhere else. And then that makes you wonder about all the companies we don't hear about because they're not big enough to report on. It concerns me, right? Especially with the AI and the right sizing that companies have been saying that they've been doing since hiring too much during COVID. And let's be honest about it, Brendo. It's coming from the public sector too, especially in this country. I don't know if you caught the headline yesterday, but the federal government is looking to right size under Prime Minister Mark Carney after the previous Prime Minister continued to add public sector jobs year over year, growing the federal bureaucracy. And so, I feel some headwinds coming.
And to his credit, you know, that was one of the things he was promising to do and cut costs on that side. So, yeah, we'll see how that comes through. 4.3% is the expected unemployment rate as well, which is flat overall. We'll get retail sales coming up at 8:30 as well for January. As far as this print goes, I mean, given everything, all of the uncertainty coming out of the Middle East, given the higher price for oil, given all this renewed talk about inflation, I mean, interest rate cuts at this point probably not only in the backseat, but probably in the trunk, I think, as far as where people's minds are at.
Let's play out this scenario, though, you and I. Let's play out this scenario. So Kevin Warsh comes in. He's got a nice, shiny chair there for the Fed seat, right? And then he has his first meeting. He doesn't cut rates. I just wonder how President Trump would react and what kind of, like,
but how can he at this point? Like, how can he at this point, given, you know, everything that's going on, especially with oil, so much uncertainty at this point. So a lot to come. Again, 8:30 going to be key this morning. If we get another huge upside print, and the market loves that and rips right back higher again, then, you know, where are we at that point? It's a whole new ballgame.
And then that's the thing. And like, we do the futures every morning, and we've seen that range that we've been stuck in, defending it for now, but we've been hanging out towards the lower end here. So unless we get a good number, Brendo, I feel that bottom may give up a little bit.
Yeah, going to be key. Guys, coming up at 8:30, we'll bring it to you live. Good morning.
Morning. And if you go to Kalshi, they think the jobs numbers will be good because the betting market's like a little bit above that mark, I guess, the consensus, which I suppose was the case yesterday as well. And that's the thing, like, the betting markets get it pretty well, so I think we'll expect a little bit of a good number. But oil, huh? Yeah, oil and energy looking good, and typically and recently, that's just been bad for the market. So unless you're waking up to Marvell looking good, Samsara, it's oil stocks and it's for the VIX, but downside we're already a point, almost a point. Actually, we're not a point. We're 0.8% or 0.9% down on the Nasdaq and looking weak. Bitcoin lost 70,000. It's 69.95, so right under there, like just like a quarter. It's a little bit of a point under that $70,000 level. So you're getting a little bit of weakness going into the end of the week. But yeah, oil stocks are going to be in play. That's good for all you small cap, rando like TPET and those types of things, because they're going to be back up in all of this turmoil. So I guess this is how the week has been, really. We're seesawing back and forth, and volatility is certainly here to stay. I think that can be a good thing for the trade, but starting to look like it's going to be a rough end to the week. I don't know about free fall Friday, but yeah, it's not looking great.
Yeah, what's up, chemical reaction, man, and everything like that. Yeah, the two plays that I have in the account really paid off last night. We got Samsara up 10%, so that's really nice. I mean, how often do you come in here and it's like, the plays that you're talking about actually work out? It's been a minute, but yeah, there goes Samsara. Really like that play. Nice upside. Commodity King was in the chat a lot, so shout out to some of you guys that were also listening. That was a good report, right? I mean, who knows? We still have a long way to go before we get back, but saved there. And then Marvell. I mean, Neil asked me yesterday at 3:30 what I thought about Marvell, and I said long. And then I was really liking it because of what we saw from Broadcom, and I just thought Marvell had a little more runway. Sharif was mentioning that earlier, and it's been really consolidated, and that's why I liked it. It's been holding this level. It's kind of the same thing with Nvidia, right? I mean, it's like as you just put up a good quarter, you can go up because you've sort of been buying some of these dips and been holding. So Marvell's okay. We'll see if it can get going again. And to the point in the back there. It's like this market just can't get out of its own way. So, some of these names being up 11 or 12%, actually happy, obviously, because it could always be worse, but also nervous about what's to come with it. So I actually have a lower bid ready to go. The sticky notes is going to be out in a couple seconds because I've already done all the work and I know what we want to look at. We want to look at Occidental today as well. I mean, with oil kicking around, really like the long on Oxy. Let's see if we can get the right price here for that one, and I'm going to show it that what the right price is, I believe, for this stock very, very soon. And I actually put out something. I want to thank everybody for all the support here on Twitter. I put this out yesterday, and I was just talking about changing between 2026 and 2025 and how my, sort of what the playbook looks like for me on that, with over 10 comments. Everybody, Dewey, Texas Boy, Ruben, Dane Generous, here he goes, man, he agrees as well with what I've been saying on here. So go dead on. Oh, okay, I already liked all this stuff. Smoking Joe's on here as well. So yeah, just talking about, 2 to 3 R's, things like that. Pay yourself first, failed moves, breakouts, things. So I'll put that in the chat. You guys go have a little bit of a read there because, as a trader, you always have to be adapting. And if you're just sitting here doing the same stuff every day, you're just going to be, kicking tires, and that's not what we want to do. So there it is. Go have a look there on X and let me know if you guys have changed up any of your strategies, this year, especially this last month, and even this last week has been pretty wild. But yeah, I mean, there's Occidental. I mean, silver's, I mean, I didn't add this to the list. Silver's been on, those are just all dark pools. Silver's been on the list for a minute, and it's today relatively flat. We'll have to see, if anything, maybe short side here underneath VWAP starting to go. But again, VWAP's going to be a little bit messed up with all these dark pools happening right now. So yeah, it's good. I mean, I think it should be a decent day again. And looking short, needless to say, oil downside. Bitcoin broke 70,000. So IBIT's going to be on my list today as well.
Yeah, it's hard to avoid this Bitcoin plunder. But there's some individual names that are probably going to be moving with Bitcoin. We know about MSTR, we know about BMNR, but you saw, I mean, Robinhood had their platinum. What's the name of the card again?
Gold card? Was it just gold?
Was it gold or platinum?
I think it.
Okay, platinum under the gold membership. Okay, whatever. So a little bit of both, I suppose. And that's likely to be in place. Sold off on that all day yesterday. Well, most of the day. I guess it caught a bottom right at the end of the day. It smells like a flat bottom here at that 78.5, but usually that kind of a level needs to be like on the daily or something like that. On the 15, it's just a support potential break here on Robinhood. So there's going to be some other names that are out there. SoFi, as one of the banks, is going to be there's a big resistance spot here at 19.5 on this one. So if you like support and resistance, well, this is an obvious resistance level going into Friday today. So yeah, there's some things that might be away from like gold, silver. You can always look at the miners, but with crypto, you can look at like a hood sometimes, and certainly SoFi with the banks oscillating a little bit. That's going to be on my mind as well. But for you, Sharif, I feel like if you're a small cap trader, I said before, like all this oil and energy talk has got these, sort of random energy, or some of them oil names, like Indo was going, and that TPT's already halfway to 100 million shares on the day after the crazy run, more than, excuse me, tried to hold that one, more than doubling up yesterday. And I think this is going to be a big volume theme throughout the next couple of weeks, or however long this conflict ends up going. Because it seems like they just passed the baton, like it's from one to the other, an endless source of these small cap energy names, Sharif.
Well, Neil, TPET was nice to me yesterday. That one continued to go. I felt this one could actually reject at $2, Neil, but this one kept going. It hit that 250 mark. It has higher lows this morning, Brendo. From yesterday's close, we closed out at $1.60. We're already dancing above $2 here. BATL was also in focus. Battalion Oil. All these smaller little oil names really catching a move here. INDO, another one. That's a former convict that we've been trading on the Midday show for almost a couple of years.
Yeah.
So there's no shortage of these smaller oil names to trade.
It's one of those rare times where you get an overall theme in the market affecting even the smaller side of the market cap scale, which is not typical, really. Here is the main culprit. This is crude futures right now. I was just hearing they tagged 86. Yeah, we got all the way up to 86.58 at the high there. Looking a little bit memeish here for oil on a daily time frame. But I mean, all of these producers as well. Here's XOM. Again, as I was saying, not as high or not up as much as the futures themselves, but 2-3 days of a pause. Maybe we get some sort of continuation here.
And it's been a good time to be in oil. I don't know if you caught the President Trump's truth, or are we calling it truth? Truth. He praised, I think her name is Delcy Rodriguez, the new president of Venezuela, says she's doing a fantastic job working with American companies with the oil. So a nod to her. Obviously, Venezuela, big for American oil as they ship a lot of those to the southern American refineries. Also, I don't know if you caught this as well. Qatar's energy minister coming out this morning saying the Gulf countries could stop shipments within days. Can you imagine that? If the Gulf countries stop shipping oil, then not most, but a great majority of the world's oil comes from this one concentrated area. Yeah. And yeah, that's what he said, Brendo. Energy Minister warned the Gulf exporters could halt shipments within days if tankers are unable to safely pass through the region. We had France sending frigates yesterday. Even Spain sent frigates. I believe the British as well. So everybody's looking kind of protect their assets out there.
Yeah, it's the biggest card they have to play, really, on the grander scale, I guess, or if you zoom out a little bit. So I think people were expecting that eventually. Guys, if you zoom out on all of these, I mean, the charts tell the story here for oil once again.
I have silver up right now. I was just writing to some people in the chat that you guys got to keep it a little bit clean.
Let's chill on the chat.
Or I'm going to ban you know what. But right here, oil up. I mean, we heard that. Oh man, my earpiece just went the other way. Oil, we did have that, like we were just mentioning yesterday, about trying to curb some of this oil demand or the price. And I think President Trump's going to have to release oil reserves or something, because, if this just keeps going where it is, I was reading reports there, $100, $150 oil is possible. Who knows how long this war is going to go on for? But wow, what a move. I mean, this is up 50% or so year to date. Like in January, whatever. I mean, I think we all knew something was going to happen with Iran, but that little breakout right there, I took XLE. I should have took oil flat itself. Like, just take the commodity. This thing was $55 all the way up to $86 right there. So that is a 50% move on the high side for oil. And you're going to have little names like BATL moving around and things like that again. But for me, it's looking at the bigger ones. It's looking at the XOMs. It's looking at the Chevrons of the world. And I've just chosen Occidental. I kind of like the volume that's there. I like the moves that this one gives, and it does give you some levels. So I'm going to be looking for something very, very similar. The sticky note's almost out. Occidental's on here, and I'm actually looking for a long right around this $54 mark. So, a lot of consolidation, then the drop. We'll see if we can catch some bids here on Occidental. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, jobs number is not really going to affect anything to do with oil. But if this does drop down in a little bit, I think we want to go long. And, nat gas is also starting to go as well. So different ETFs, you can trade the USO, OIH, XLE is what I like. And XLE is not actually moving around even that much. It should be probably even higher than this, in my opinion. But you can see it's broken through. And we got it breaking through 50. So, yeah, that's right. Our charts, man, that's the one thing we got to do a little bit better is change it. But breaking through 50 is when we got it. It's up to 57, so it's 14%. It's nowhere near like what oil's actually doing, but this break didn't happen until February. So if you actually had this back in January, then you're long in the low 40s. So it's been a nice little move higher there for XLE. I mean, you could just see in the last couple weeks, it's a couple down days, but this is a down day off of a bump higher. So it's not even really, I don't even know why that's red. But, at the end of the day, it's got to hold $56 here on XLE, and that could be a good long as well, 56 on XLE. So I like the whole space. I think it's a great way to diversify. And even if you're not in it, I still think there's more room to go here. I mean, when Ukraine, as I was saying, was invaded by Russia, oil was up to 130, 140, 150. So there's a lot of room to go here, considering that we're just at the 80. What did I say? It was 84 right now, dollar mark or so. Yeah, 86. Yeah, so I mean, just right there, we just bumped.
It's like 89.
Yeah, we just dropped a buck and then went right back up. We actually just dropped $2 from 87 down to 85, and now we're right back to 86 again. So yeah, a lot of volatility in this market, and I think as traders, I mean, I put that post up as well, and I think that's what we're looking for. We're always looking for volatility. We're looking for names to trade, and something that gives us the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, and it looks like the president and Hegseth are meeting CEOs of defense companies today.
Oh, there we go.
That's from CBS. So, look, if you're trading some defense names, no time given that I was able to see or hear. So you're in the right spot. We'll keep our ear to the ground. You know Adair's going to be around, and always making sure you have that information. I was actually discussing my message Obi about Oxy, because it has a setup that CVX does. And like CVX has been, look, in the oil space, CVX has been a beast. It's probably been the beast of the traditional names that we look at. It's already pushing into some highs, but there's something that happened at the beginning of the week, and you can see when we were gapping above 190, it's like gap up, fail. Again, gap up over 190, fail 190. Then yesterday, you crested into the 190. Only, what do we not have? There's no breakout at 190 because it's basically gapped up higher, so it's not really setting up in the way that you want. And on the other end of the equation is a similar thing happened in Oxy, like gap up, fail, resistance 54.5, gap up, fail, 55, 54.5, top 54.5. So this one is actually trading back into that high with a chance to break out that same range that CVX is gapping through. So that's why it's going to be on the radar today. But oil names will be in play. Like we said, the small cappers are there for you. But remember this, if you get positive headlines and we get some kind of an oil shock, yeah, USO will move and Oxy will move, but some of those other ones, those will halt down. So it's a little bit crazier. Like you get the slightest move down on a positive headline, and some of those T-Pets could really lose the bid quickly. So you got to trade these. I mean, look at this. Look at the afternoon yesterday. This went from like $2.50 and ended up. I didn't even realize it got that bad. Like I'm pretty sure the last time I looked at it was at 180 or something. It ended up at $1.40. So you just be a little bit more careful with these. You understand the way that they go, and again, you're in the right spot. We keep our ear to the ground. We will have all the news for you. And in addition to that, I know we have some Fed speak today. I don't know how much the Fed matters. More interesting that the president's going to be talking to defense names than getting updates out of Iran. And what's the Fed supposed to say? Tell us more reasons why we're not going to have a cut next time. But you know what? Time to get some options info with our good friend Joe.
All right, guys. Happy Friday. Let's get into some of the derivative world activity. We're going to kick things off with Oracle here, guys. At that 170 strike price, that's going to be expiring a couple weeks from now. This is where we're seeing a lot of the concentration of open interest, and this can be extremely telling. There was a little bit of a recovery here on Oracle on the news that there's going to be plenty of job cuts, obviously with the increase of the data center build out. So open interest sitting around 33,400 there. Volume 1,460,000 contracts open and closed yesterday. You can see the bid and the ask sitting around a $20 spread, but you're collecting quite a bit here if you're looking to write. But the purchase of those are pretty expensive as well too. You can see that the delta, we're sitting around that 32, so this is still extremely out of the money right now. Your gamma exposure relatively light, and then the at the money IV increase because there's a lot of volatility spikes yesterday, sitting around that 85% mark. All right, moving forward, let's take a look at Marvell, guys. So at that $100 mark, once again, expiring on the 20th, you can see that the open interest is going to be the most that we've seen throughout the next couple of expiration cycles. If you go to next week, it's only a couple hundred here and there. And if you take a look at this week, nothing substantial, okay? Considering even though they reported earnings. So at the $100 mark, you have a $7 spread, and this is far out of the money right now. So $100 once again, you can see that that delta is relatively cool, and your gamma exposure also very cool. But at the money IV, you're seeing a slight increase. All right, so what we'll do is we'll pull up this Marvell chart here momentarily so we can take a look at what we got going on with that specific strike, MRVL. Should have this ready. Oh, and shout out to my, Ryan O'Day. I don't know if Ryan, if you're in the chat today, what a snake move by Tom Aspinall, eh? Crazy, crazy, crazy. Where's my boy at? If he's in the chat. Let's see what he says. Tom Aspinall signing with Eddie Hearn. For those who know, it's fight game, Neil, fight game. So he's a UFC fighter, essentially signing with a boxing promoter. Dana and Eddie are rivals. Aside from that, let's take a look at this contract. Something that was once worth $771, now only worth $47. There's a 93% decay on this specific contract. Unfortunately, this specific strike, expiring March 20th, will never recover, guys. It's for the options writers, absolutely. We'll be back momentarily with some upgrades and downgrades.
Appreciate it, Joe. And one of those names that you mentioned is reporting on Tuesday of next week, and that'll be Oracle. So it's weird because we always say like, Broadcom, that's the last big one. There's always like somebody, a name that matters and could move the market, or is like a sentiment type of play. Certainly Oracle could be a little bit of that, because an appetite, if the market has an appetite to buy Oracle after earnings, I think that's going to bode really, really well for the AI trade, because it's been cresting. Cresting may be the wrong word. I don't know if it's long enough here. Cresting would be if it was going to the upside. No, but it's been consolidating off of the lows is probably the better way to put it for Oracle. And not a bad week for them. Like, it's actually been pretty steady Eddie. So this one on Tuesday, I think it's going to be big. Well, it's big for the AI trade. I don't know how much I love them, but it's bottoming out and the buyers starting to come in. Throw up the super chat. We got Danny Boy's Disco Pants Emporium, as usual. The name's so big, we can't even put it up on screen, but it is Danny. Worthwhile to keep an eye on Sable Offshore SOC. Despite its huge jump yesterday, there might still be a ton more upside if the administration does decide to intervene in the litigation from Cali. So Sable Offshore is on your watch list. Danny's boy.
Disco Pants.
Disco Pants, yeah, I got to say the full thing. Disco Pants Emporium. Stock has been doing rather nice. A huge day yesterday, and right into some resistance there. But it's got room to the 200 there. You don't wonder sometimes when there's like light volume on a day two, whether you go sideways or have some kind of a consolidation after a day like that. But yeah, good one there for Danny.
Yeah, I always want to do some research and figure it out. So thanks, Danny Boyce, for bringing that to everybody's attention right there. All right, 5 minutes until Jobless. The job numbers come out, and we're going to wait to see what that wants to do. I mean, right now the Nasdaq is doing nothing. So is the SPY. So everyone just kind of sitting on their hands now, waiting for this number. You can see the SPY. Here's the Nasdaq all morning, just hovering around. Same as the SPY. So these are the S&P 500 ETF and the Nasdaq 100 ETF. the most popular traded one. And yeah, you can see right now as we just calmly wait to see what this jobless number has been. And as we reported before, they can always make changes to all these numbers. So whatever numbers reported today will probably spike or move the market one way or the other. And then I wouldn't be surprised if we retrace right back to sort of where we started. That's kind of been the playbook, like a big move up to, let's just say 680, and then it just starts to drip down again into the open. So I don't know if this is going to really affect anything. We do have the last meeting coming for Jerome Powell, and then we'll switch it over to Warsh, and then and then the cuts will begin in June, and then we'll lead that into the rest of the year. And then hopefully at that point we'll start to be data dependent, right? I mean, we always go over the Fed rate watch tool, which is now 12 days and 5 hours away from making that decision. So there it is, 12 days, 5 hours, 34 minutes, and 30 seconds. And this is what we're talking about for March. So you're not going to miss much if you're not available on March the 18th, but it's going to be basically a hold. And then we don't get super excited until it looks like June, where there's at least a 30% chance for a cut. And then heading into July, it just keeps on increasing, 39%, so on and so forth, where we go to the end of the year in December, where it's looking like there's a 1/3 chance that we have 2 cuts by the time December rolls around, just 2. So it's not... it's not a huge situation right now for the rate cut lands. 2 this year. I think there was a lot of expectations for even 3. But let's wait to see what happens, once the meetings start, right? I mean, you never know what kind of data. And we're going to get a number in 3 minutes now that will play the March number, right? I mean, if it's dramatically one way, we could see it shift in that expectation. But I am not expecting anything from this. I mean, the number could be great, but I'm not expecting a change for March, almost regardless of what happens here. Earnings have been great this earnings season. I mean, the majority of these companies are beating and guiding higher. It's just the market is not rewarding them the same way that they had been. I mean, 2 good plays last night with IoT and Marvell, Broadcom.
We're 3 in a row because it's Broadcom, IoT, and Marvell. So at least...
I mean, come on, man. IoT is just a name that I'm pumping. IoT is not
But there were no other earnings names last night.
Yeah. Well, there was Costco.
Well, actually,
And there was,
but Costco never moved.
I mean, Gap is probably a higher stock than IoT.
What's interesting with Gap, though, is they did a pretty big buyback.
Oh, I didn't even look.
Yeah, they authorized a pretty significant buyback that didn't seem to do anything for them. So I wonder if that can't get a bit of a bounce for that stock. But as you said, we'll get this number in 3 minutes. Look, it's not going to move. There's going to be 3 Fed speak, and then we can talk about rates. It's one of those, I'm not looking at bond yields because right now you're looking at the VIX and you're looking at oil prices and you're looking at the US dollar. There are times when you're looking at yields and you're wondering what the Fed is going to do, and then there's other moments, and we're in another moment right now. And that's just sort of how it is. So yeah, I don't think it'll be too crazy, but we'll see in a couple of minutes. You never know. Like we've had 830 numbers shock us before, and next thing you know, the market's back at like 25,000 in the Nasdaq, but I'm not really thinking that's going to happen here. Your thoughts, Sharif, Brennan? Do we get any move on this number?
I mean, I think the more interesting narrative here is just going back to what happened last time. The enormity of the beat to the upside that we got last time, and whether or not we see that again, if it does come in. I mean, we're expecting 59,000 here. Last time it was 130,000 that we ended up getting. So if it is, a beat, is it the same size? Is it, more in line with this, 59,000? If it is monstrously big once again, then yeah, the market will probably like that.
And one thing that we always hear about too as well, especially President Trump constantly referencing, is the unemployment rate. It ticked down, it ticked up. Remember when it hit 4.6 and we had a couple of months, back-to-back months where the unemployment, ticked up. Today, I think we're looking for 4.3, Brendo, for unemployment for U.S. February unemployment. So if it comes in a little bit ahead, a little bit below, obviously that could be market moving as well.
Exactly in line with expectations would be probably the more highly likely here. I'm just looking at a couple other numbers here. Core retail sales do as well, or retail sales for January. 0.3 or negative 0.3% is the consensus on the month-over-month number for that. If you jump down here to retail sales on the whole number, it's looking at 0.1%. Average hourly earnings worth keeping an eye on as well. That's been creeping back higher on a month-over-month basis. So 3.7 last time. It was 3.6 on the prior number. Average work week hours as well. Another one that I was reading this morning has been creeping back higher. 34.3 last time, 34.2 on the prior number. So about 20 seconds to go here. Keep an eye on the futures specifically when this does come across. Again, the consensus 59,000 on this. The forecast number 70,000. If we do get anything to the upside, we should see some sort of movement here as far as the overall market in about 3 seconds. So 4.3% we're looking for on the unemployment rate as well. Looks like retail sales out there, negative 92,000 just coming across there. Again, negative 92,000. The prior, again, revised as well to the downside. As the guys were just saying, 126%, or 126,000, sorry, 4.4%. So we do get an uptick on the unemployment rate and the negative non-farm payrolls print, guys. How's the market?
Well, it's not that big.
Yeah, it's down a little bit there. I mean, I think it just spikes the interest rate cut idea more now, because here we go, man. Expected 55,000, and also and we got what, minus 92,000 jobs right there. Non-farm payrolls minus 92,000 versus I have 58 estimate. We have 55 on our note. But yeah, I mean, starting to make the move down there. The unemployment rate 4.4 versus 4.3. I mean, there's small little numbers there. We'll probably hear something from the president soon about this. Probably something about how it's the Democrats' fault. But you know, 678 down to 675 right now. I mean, it can't be great, right? I mean, an uptick in unemployment, less jobs available, it seems like, on the payroll front, and all the worries in Iran, and all the spikes in oil that's been happening recently as well. So it's not a great opportunity. It's not a great situation right now, as you wonder about, hey, is my job safe? Unemployment's ticking up, and oil seems to be a little bit of a problem. So yeah, for right now, downside move, but you know, regardless of, I said if we get a spike, it'll probably fade back. So I'm going to say the same thing here. We get a move down, it's probably going to make a move back, because you get the ebbs and flows, right? So now there's more of a chance that maybe down the line we get that extra, you know, quarter point interest rate cut if the unemployment rate continues going this way. You know, they're going to have to try to curb that a little bit. But I mean, there it was, man, plus 55,000 to 58,000 versus minus 92,000. That's quite the difference, and the market's almost all the way back to where it was there 2 minutes after the drop. So you know, I don't want to say it's a nothing burger. Obviously, it's going to move the market. It's provided a lot of volume here for it, and it's a Friday. So, you know, need reasons to move around. This is going to be one of them. I think it just adds the
especially with expiration.
Yeah, the sticky note's now out. It's just confirming what I already have written on here, short. So I'm already looking short on the Nasdaq. I'm looking short on IBIT. I'm looking long on oil, and we're looking at some Marvell if it dips. So yeah, I mean, kind of as expected here for me. I was looking short to begin with. Now the short is printing a little bit better, and yeah, let's see what winds up happening.
I don't know, in some ways, because like I was mostly looking short too. Oil long doesn't count as a short, I don't think. I guess not in this environment. But I kind of felt like it would have been better if there was an 830 pop, because I think that's like that fading would be a little bit easier to navigate. You can see the VIX up at 25 too. That's the other thing that we're contending with. Let's go to an hourly. Oh yeah, hourly. I don't like that. Let's go to a 3 hour. That's a little bit better. And we're starting to creep back up here. And we've been making, we're starting to get closer to that 30 level on the VIX, which kind of gets you worried. So that's elevated and starting to break out. You know, something we should be paying attention to, especially if we do test some of those earlier highs, right? Like it spiked, obviously, at the beginning of this whole mess in Iran, and we are still trending higher. So yeah, keep an eye on the VIX. For now, I think everything looks all systems go, but I wouldn't be rushing to get into any shorts. That's for sure. But yeah, VIX is going to have to keep an eye on it. And I wouldn't be totally surprised if you heard some chatter, or at least some small moves with this weakness in the labor market of, you know, that at least maybe on the back end, more than 2 cuts on the end of the year. Like in the front, I don't think we're any sooner to cuts, but I think we could creep closer to that 2.5 we were sitting at for the full year. Maybe you see that kind of a shift throughout the day, but I'd be more inclined to keep an eye on the VIX here, everybody.
Yeah, 2 month. So 2 months, we had that little bit of a revision on last month's number again from 130 to 126. So 2 months. Total revision subtracts 69,000 jobs overall. Sharif and I were just reading 86,000 of that 92 that just came across were from the private sector. So not a great look.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said there, 86,000. If you're thinking, okay, maybe he's trying to right-size the federal government after overhiring this, that, and the other. I don't think that that's what this report is showing. Minus 86,000 comes from the private sector. Only -6 comes from government payrolls. So certainly can't be that. It's just it's a matter of time until we get some sort of truth here addressing this. It's coming.
You know, his thumb is just itching to.
He's getting ready for it.
To hit the send button here. We'll see who he blames for this number.
The 4.3% as well. The consensus was 4.3. The unemployment, as you mentioned, ticked up 1.1%. That is something to keep an eye on.
Definitely. All right, Michael Naas is waiting patiently here to give us an update on some technicals going into the final session of what has been a pretty interesting week here. I mean, this could change things a little bit here maybe today, but it's funny you have this idea today, and what we're going to talk about is this continuous just gap down, buy, gap down, buy, gap down, buy situation that we've been seeing throughout this entire week. Not only on the index, it's worth noting, but a lot of individual stocks have been doing that or more, actually ending the day, well positive in some cases. But given the macro situation, given the fundamentals, given this jobs print we just had, maybe we see a little bit of a different reaction today.
Maybe, but I think today's going to be super interesting. So first of all, I'll go through the charts and then show what we're talking about. I'm sure you've all seen this. It's been pretty wild all week, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think potentially could be happening, and we'll see, I think, today if I'm right or not. And, this is Monday's action. So basically, I've just brought charts for the whole week, and this is just 30-minute chart of the S&P 500. We have a gap down, and the moment the market opens, we just kind of rip all day and close pretty near the highs. And then here on Tuesday, it was the same thing. We had, so the next chart, we had a gap down, and then, yes, they sold it a little bit for the first hour or so, and then ripped it all day. And this was the one that was really surprising to me. I think I saw the IWM down almost 4% at one point, closed down like 1% after that. And then even on Wednesday, where it was technically a gap up, we did have this kind of overnight action. So in the next chart, just the far left there, we did kind of gap down from, the close of the SPY to the open of the SPY, and then bought it up again. And then yesterday was more of the same, where, we let it go until noon on the next chart, and we gapped down and we sold off all the way till noon, and then we ripped it into the end of the day. So I did a video about this and actually got some people riled up, but there's the old saying that amateurs open the market and professionals close it. And what that doesn't mean, I think this is where people got a little riled up, is that only professionals trade the close. It's just not true at all. As us active traders, the open's very important. There's a lot of volatility there. But the point of that saying is meaning that what the real big guys, not us, not professional who's, trade for a living, but the huge guys out there, your institutions, your hedge funds, your mutual funds, they need liquidity. And there's not enough of that just to hit the button off the open like we do and take a trade. So they generally will buy with algorithms. And the algorithms send out orders randomly at random prices at random time intervals throughout the day to hide their orders. Because if not, there'd be a lot of people like us out there that would be able to see what they're doing and try to piggyback off their move. So what I think we're seeing here is we're seeing that when the liquidity gets active enough, and things start to die down a little bit, there's just a moment where we're seeing a lot of institutions flip on these buy algorithms. And that to me is hugely interesting and potentially hugely bullish. So today, for example, like you guys were mentioning, that number came out and we were gapping down a little bit even before that number. So if we see this action again today, in which we're gapping down off the open or even selling in the pre-market, and when it comes through that the market is open and you start to see these trends develop back to the upside, it's just showing you more and more that there are large institutions that are using these kind of VWAP buy algorithms and they're just flipping them on, which overwhelming demand for stocks from these guys can't be a bad thing. So lastly, this is a chart that I grabbed from Bespoke and just kind of showed when the SPY is down 1% and gaps down and then reverses and closes higher on the day. They just highlighted a chart when this happens, and it's generally very bullish when it happens. But if you look at it, in most of the times, it happens at the end of drawdowns, right? They have one at the end of the year 2000. They have a couple in 2008. And then they have the tariff tantrum as well, where we had that huge gap down and reversal day. The famous tweet of it's a good time to buy. it's weird to have this at near all-time highs. So this is very interesting to me. But what I'm kind of saying is that if we continue to see this for one more day today, if we gap down today and then we start to see this unrelenting trend into the close, that's not retail traders that do that, right? That buying the dip, that turning on the algorithm, that buying all day, that moves the market, that is 100% institutional money. And it's glaring to see if you're studying the charts, but I know most of the public that's not watching shows like this is probably not seeing it and is just worried about the headline. So one more day of this, and I have to be, full bull hat at that point, because somebody who knows more than me is buying and trying to hide it, but just not doing a very good job.
One of the things that has really stood out, in this, you want to call it a pullback. I mean, we're 5% or so off the highs, as you were mentioning, is the simple fact that if you run through a whole gauntlet of charts, specifically through tech, you're going to see some pretty ugly moves, 20, 25, 30%, drawdowns off all-time highs, but yet the market continues to hold, as you were saying, at these levels, which I don't know about you, but it seems like it's been a long time since we've seen this.
It's been a very long time since you've seen the breadth, and I've brought you ratio charts and all of that. This breadth is crazy. So what I think we need to see is, and we're seeing this throughout the day, is it's the most beaten up sectors that these buy programs are being triggered on. So for IVG is a crazy chart right now. I actually wish I brought it. It's been green like the last 10 or 15 days, but it's been gapping down. So it gaps down and it goes green. It gaps down, it goes green, just over and over and over again. And the saying, the amateurs open market, professionals close it, is kind of just saying that there'll be bad news. And when there's low liquidity, that's when people react and overreact. Large institutions there's not enough liquidity there for them to be trading pre-market and post-market. They need to wait for the market to open. So when you get this disconnect of what happens overnight versus what's happening during the day, you're seeing that disconnect from smaller traders to larger traders. And it looks like larger traders are buying stocks and buying these beaten up sectors.
I mean, it's great to see demand is still there, and it's great to see there's a lot of money either, rotating out of other names and going into other areas of the market, or just sitting on the sidelines waiting to be deployed at this point as well, given the overall situation. Yep. We're in, waters that I think we've yet to see the other side of, I guess, if that's a good way to look at it. But I mean, it remains to be seen what's going to happen on the macro side. It remains to be seen what's going to happen on the rates side of things, given, this job number as well this morning. So always good to know the full narrative. Michael Naas, have a great weekend. We'll see you again Monday.
I'll talk to you guys Monday. Have a great one.
All right, guys, once again, fantastic stuff from Michael Naas. All right, guys, let's get into some of the analyst activity here this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades, and that's going to be ADT. Barclays downgrading this from an equal weight to an underweight here, down 1 3/4 with a price target of $7. And then we have Brilliant Earth Group also getting the downgrade by KeyBank, guys, going from an overweight to a sector weight, down 0.7% here. And then we have the trade desk by Wedbush going from a neutral to an underperform, down 2.65% here with a price target of $23. Now Kava as well too, DA Davidson initiating the sell on this one. You're down roughly 0.75% with an $80 price target. Moving forward, we'll take a look at some of the upgrades. Yes, at the top of the list, we have Marvell reporting last night with a substantial move. You're up 11% this morning with a price target of $100. That was initially $90, so a $10 bump right there by Goldman. And then we have Costco as well, too, reporting, guys. It's down 0.4% right now, but BTIG increasing that price target to $1,115, and then Samsara also up 10% this morning too, guys, with a price target of $41, initial target $36, and that increase is going to be by Goldman. Now Netflix as well too. It's been on a nice run here, guys, especially since the Warner Brothers and Paramount Skydance bidding war. It's now come to a conclusion. You're down 0.25%, but it's getting its price target rate increase from $100 to $115 by CFRA. Hope everyone has a fantastic session.
take 115. That'd be nice on Netflix. But Zion with the super chat, loving all the insights. Naas boss, nicely explained. Appreciate the super chat, Zion. Thank you, Michael, for coming on through. And well, if there's buyers that are not very good at hiding things, they might be hiding on trade desk after their earnings, or at least that's what it seems like after that gap up. Because they didn't really come in full force yesterday, and they aren't coming in yet. So sometimes when you gap up, there is no continue. For now, this looks like it's still finding some profit takers. And the big story here is, the stock was trashed. So you're just trying to do a bit of a dead cat bounce. And there was an insider buying, like CEO buying a bunch of shares. OpenAI advertising deal was probably a bigger deal for OpenAI there than anything else. But yeah, rejects that 50 period. It's looking like a continuation short. Like if it can't break past like support from yesterday turning into resistance as this one continues to fill in that gap. But yeah, like that Netflix, that's at least looking pretty strong.
Yeah, yesterday we had, IoT, and it was great. Now we get the Goldman upgrade. Katina Capital has been upgrading this name for a little bit. And it's nice. We could get faded out. This is another cloud play, Internet of Things. They just connect, it's sensors, it's connecting your business to the cloud and just trying to get more efficient. I feel like this is a business that, obviously gets hit with what we've been talking about with AI, but they can also become more efficient, and that's exactly what they're doing, a beat on the top and the bottom line and to guide forward. So Samsara has been really hit, obviously, as we talk about, Salesforce and what's, Claude bots and all this stuff has been talking about. But these guys just connect multiple operations, your warehouse with your trucks, and it's a cloud service play. It's I was hoping that they would turn EPS. They did. So, it's an EPS beat. That's really what we were looking for there, and then the better guide. So I'm, probably not in love with this name. The last time I think we started buying this, I was going to say like maybe back in this area here, took a little bit out when it went up. This was, I think, their last earnings call back in December. So we were able to make a good little bit of bank on that. And I think that's where we've started talking about Samsara, and then it fell back in, so we didn't get out of everything. And we were buying some of these dips that we've been mentioning on the show, and then now back up to the upside. So it's not like we're making a bunch of money on this yet. Need to see it continue to grow higher. And this is a name that I'm worried about because it's just another one of those cloud names that reports well and then starts to do this again. So watch out for IoT. And actually, I don't even know. I think it was part of the reason why I like it is it has to have over a 10% short float. I probably wouldn't have even been thinking about it. This is, there it is. Exactly 10. So a 10% short float, not a huge market cap business at all, man. That's why I was telling you, when we talked about something reported, this is 17 billion. So this has a lot of room, man, to get to the upside there. So I really like Samsara, but I do think for today, I think the fade is probably in. Give it a couple minutes before you trade it to see where we wind up going. But I really like that stock, and so does Goldman. So hey, I definitely will take them as a sort of a tailwind for Samsara. So I like it. This was a name that was brought to my attention like probably 4 years ago or something by Raider Trader, and he liked it. It was in the 50s or 60s, and they reported a disastrous number, and I think they went down like 30 or 40%, and that's where it got me interested in it. And so yeah, IoT, doing something there. It's just in my tax-free savings account, so we'll get out of this thing when it triples.
Getting a little nasty in the market here.
Yeah, of course.
1.25 now down on the ES. Nasdaq 1.5, approaching that 2% mark. The ES looks like it'll get to support before the Nasdaq does, so that'll be in about 20 points or so. You get into the week's lows on the ES, and the Nasdaq is down more, but it's already broken some local support, and it's got some room because it had a worse bottom on the week. I was looking at AMD is already at yesterday's lows, which kind of changes the litmus. I was looking for short at 200. It's one of those, you don't know. I kind of thought we'd not move, be more expected on the jobs numbers and be more flattish, but that hasn't been the case. I don't want to look flat bottom break because I don't think on any 830 number you want to take the extremity here. So we're going to have to be patient off this open, looking for some fade plays. 2 points down here, same thing on Nvidia. So it's not like anything's really standing out. The market goes down. I'm not seeing anything that I've watched that's looking to counter. I know Amazon was strong yesterday, so I want to have a quick look there. Yeah, that's the same thing. right back down. So even the names that were relatively strong yesterday, catching a bit of a drift to the downside. But we still have over 30 minutes till the open. A lot can happen between now and then, certainly. So hopefully we get some pops going into 9:30.
The desk.
All right, I have no computer right now, so what do you want to talk about?
We can do IoT.
Yeah, I mean, the guys were
just going to be on the rundown?
I was going to talk a little bit about some earnings plays as well. I mean, Costco, I think, was one that was kind of interesting. The thing that stood out to me was the membership side of that.
Exactly.
Report continues to be the main focus of Costco, but I mean, nothing to really look at as far as the chart is concerned, as Costco tends to play out.
Yeah, they want their money back too, Brendo. So they're suing pretty aggressively, and they want the tariff money that they had to pay under the former IEEPA, the now discredited IEEPA tariffs. So they reported strong second quarter results, guys. $4.58 a share, beating $4.55 expected by analysts, and that revenue just a little bit below $70 billion per quarter now. Again, easily beating there. What really stood out to me, we can go through the comparable sales and all that kind of stuff, but one thing that management said, membership renewals have been slightly lower recently, especially among online members, though the company said renewal rates remain strong. So management does want to take an initiative here, and they said, we're going to introduce marketing initiatives aimed at improving renewals. We know, Brendo, that their margins are all but bupkis, and they do really rely more 100%. On the membership renewals. So this is an important margin for them.
Yeah, and the $10 delivery fee that I give to Grocery Gateway every time they go and get my Costco for me.
That's right.
Because I still won't go to Costco. But overall, I mean, guys, the higher time frame for Costco is still holding up relatively well.
Yeah, it's one of those you're probably not going to be day trading it. Let's be real. A, price, B, action, because its expected move was 3, and it's still managing to do even less than that, like 0.5% on Costco. But boring can be solid, and you know what? You can't even look at the daily chart. Sometimes you got to go way further out. You got to throw up the monthly, I think, with Costco, because as much as sometimes you complain about stocks that aren't moving, when you go to the higher time frame, you realize that the buy and hold on them is absolutely fine. Even when it wasn't going in the midst of Walmart's recent run, when you saw that continuously breaking out, it's like, well, where's Costco? Where's Costco? Where's Costco? Well, here they are, and they're right back testing, some lower highs that are going to be put in here. As for today, I'm not that interested. I think one thing you would look at technically is you're back above both major moving averages, and if you're into this sort of thing, you're gonna have a post earnings, or I guess this was yesterday, where it had a golden cross. So you're actually seeing that 50-period cross back above the 200. The 200 is flattening out. All of the things that point towards another upshot. I prefer Walmart. That's a stock I'd rather be buying on dips. But yeah, boring but nice is Costco. And Walmart, by the way, is coming into that's right. That's not going to be reflective of when it moved to the Nasdaq. So I want to pop back over to the daily chart here on eSignal. Walmart's coming back into that 50-period moving average itself. So this is a good bounce spot for Walmart.
Yeah, I said this yesterday. I thought that Walmart's been getting hit as of late, and Target's been going the other way around. Obviously, I actually was looking at this, and the dividend that Target gives you, that 3% is a good sort of. I mean, at 120, it's only giving you $3, right, or a little less than that. So it's not like it's a huge move. But I was thinking, like, we've had a good earnings report. We're well off the bottom here for Target. So I was debating some rotation. Look, I don't know nothing about Costco's report. It's not on our morning watch list, so I'm just going to assume it was a nothing burger. There's no volume here today. I just don't, when you're battling Trump and you're battling, trying to get some of this money back and just not really feeling some of the policies of the current administration, that's not great. So I don't really like Costco here. It's still holding in my portfolio. I'm probably never going to get rid of it, but nothing really to like. I'm long from this thing like under $100 or something for Costco. This is not like, this is one of the first stocks. I'll tell you the story that my dad used to trade it between $50 and $100 and going back and forth, and I just bought it at that. This is a 20-year position. It's not like it's any good, but just gonna wait for Costco to figure out what it wants to do. I'm not super excited about it. The retail plays that I'm in right now is Target. We talked about that, and then Lulu. Like, other than that, man, I mean, and we got out some Lulu when it was near that $200 mark, and it's been actually getting hit right there. We, oh, was it? Yeah, going through, it must have been in here somewhere. We got a little bit out. We're still holding, you know, majority of this stock as it's trying to figure out what it wants to do, but we did get some out there. I mean, we can't just ignore these 200 period moving averages when they're there. We had ON reports the other day, ON. And let's see what they're doing. Just on the retail side, they did not have a great report and started to go to the downside. So a little bit of a bounce off on this one as well, right there. This maybe is a day 3 play right now for ON. So, you know, that could be a good holding spot there as well. But yeah, I just, Target I'm really happy with. Like you guys know, we put the post out in October, November. We went long Target around that $86 mark and, you know, have been getting some out. We're still waiting for that 135 area to come through. I hope that does happen. But yeah, this little jobs market here is starting to create some issues here. Daily also talking and blah, 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 blah right now. He's talking about this number as well as the market continues to go down. And President Trump is also saying that there's going to be absolutely no deal with Iran whatsoever. So yeah, so what was that, Sharif? MEGA.
Great again. He put it in the tweet.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he said
MEGA.
make Iran great again, which is in his tweet. So, you know, nothing like destroying a country and then saying that I'm going to be the one to pick the new predecessor over there. I mean, he's already the president of Venezuela. We'll see if he's going to be the president of Iran very, very soon. Man, this guy's going to be taking over. Look, you got to have some.
Well, the old way was
just
be the president to do it without saying you're doing it.
Yeah, you might as well just be the president of a South American country, now Middle East, and you already got North America. So next one is
Cuba's
Europe.
next. No, but Cuba's next.
Cuba's next.
Cuba's apparently.
Yeah, and then so he needs to be in every hemisphere. So then we got to try to figure out where exactly in Asia. So maybe he could be, I don't know. You guys let me know. I don't know, Thailand, maybe he can be the president of Thailand. And then
the thing is, though, this is going to drag on, and this is not looking like it's going to be short term. That's why you're looking at oil today, and it's certainly going to weigh on them. It's already weighing on the markets a little bit here, certainly.
I got a new Apple update. So, Sharif, did you install the new Apple iOS?
Katina, man, I downloaded it this morning, the beta 3.
That's what I'm
the iOS 26 beta 3 tonight, hopefully.
Okay.
Have you?
I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to say install
right
now.
I got
right now. So, you said don't do it?
I like being part of the beta program.
What? Okay, I'm going to do it anyways. Adair does not like it. I would do it anyways at some point, so I'm gonna figure it out right now. We got the new update going on there, so I'll let you guys know. But so we got an 0 for 1 from Adair, but I don't know. Every update I do is the same. I'm just waiting for all that Siri stuff to come through. Yeah, I want the big AI push, so we'll see what's involved there.
That MOBX is starting to go again. So for all, I know we're talking about you know, some of these energy names and all that stuff, and this small capper was one of the, I guess, one of the big movers that wasn't an energy name, Mobix Labs, and it's breaking away from that dollar. It tried to do this the last couple of days above 110 where it couldn't seem to go. Now it's battling that same level. So hold a buck at the open, hold VWAP at the open. This one has a chance for a secondary push here. You always like to see that dollar level hold, and you're seeing it break out. So a small capper that is not some kind of an oil name making a run for sure. So look, we got a couple of minutes to go till 9 o'clock. The market does not seem to want to bounce all that much. I mean, Bitcoin is now almost 69,000. We're just breaking 70. Nvidia lost the 180 level. That was a pretty key pivot point yesterday. That 180. Once it held that in the afternoon, it was a ramp job. If we cannot get back above this, that's going to be trouble for the chip names for sure. So yeah, a lot's going to be moving today, but to call it a free fall Friday would be unfair. We're already down 1.6%. So we've fallen. It's a matter of how we do at the open here now.
All right, let's get into everything else we need to know here this morning. The day is going to be a busy one, I think, as far as individual movers are concerned. But let's start with the market there.
We're at the real low end of the range, guys, here on the SPY. We closed out at 681 1/3 yesterday. We are markedly below that now, into 672 on the back of that bad jobs number. We're holding up by a thread here, so we're up. We were lower on the 3rd of March. We got all the way down, Breno, to 669.66. That is the local area low, with the overnight low now, or the morning low, I should say, 672.03. So here's the deal. We're looking at that same area as resistance or as support that we got into on the 3rd, which is 667, let's just say. And if we catch a bid for whatever reason, we're going to look at 677. That was the overnight low here before we lost it. A couple of holdups there on the 4-hour chart, Brendo.
All right, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you grab the watch list. Comes out every single morning before we come on at 8 o'clock. It's free. Link is below in the description. Second link in the description will get you to the sign-up page for that. Has everything you need to know. Every single pre-market in it. Let's go to Marvell first here. Huge move after the close yesterday. It was instantly almost straight to the upside. 87 ends up being the top here. We are coming back in a little bit with the overall market on this jobs number, but overall, great report here.
They're guiding fiscal 2028. Like, that's how far into the future they're looking for here. And they're saying, we're going to hit about $15 billion in revenue for full year fiscal 2028. Well, that's well above the $12.9 billion that the street was looking for. The guidance does reflect, of course, strong demand for custom chips as well as networking components. Executives at Marvell said hyperscaler spending on AI infrastructure is actually accelerating, with major tech companies like the likes of Alphabet, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta all expected to roughly spend $630 billion on that this year. AI adoption as well is increasing demand for their, specifically here, application-specific integrated circuits. We can call that custom silicon, as well as their interconnect technology. And they're actually using photonics for that now, a new move for them through an acquisition that they made recently. They also expect revenue growth of nearly 40% through fiscal 2028, and primarily driven by, of course, their data center. Their custom chip products, Brendo, only account for about 10 to 15% of their revenue, but the executives say that that's going to be a lot higher going into 27 and into 28. They also raised guidance. We won't go through that. The report looks fantastic.
Yeah, one of those days, though, with higher macro issues affecting the overall market here, guys. The direction is down right now, unfortunately, for MRVL.
Not like it's
Direction's down for everybody right now.
Yeah, and we had talked about that. Same thing with Samsara, and it's just like, and actually when we started the show at 8 o'clock, it was, we actually were started talking about Marvell, and Sharif was like, in a better market, this print would have probably soared a little higher. So that's good for me, man. I mean, a 40% increase in revenue expected. The growth is not stopping, the ASICs, and only 10 to 15% of their market right now are custom chips. And we know that business is growing, especially as some of these smaller companies start to step up into the chip game and into not the chip game, into AI, and they're going to need custom chips rather than these big monster ones from Nvidia and Broadcom and all this. So Broadcom is a competitor with Marvell as well. I like the photonics division. We talked about how data transfer is also a big thing for Marvell. And look, I mean, their PE going into this was like 24, 25. We talked about how good that was. And although it's still above the market multiple, I like the space, but it's still like a sleeping giant in my opinion. I mean, you're not even, I don't even know what the market cap is. It's not very huge for Marvell, and I think it can go upside. We did hear SoftBank kick tires on this about a couple months ago. Yeah, it's $65 billion. Like that is like nothing, man. And Broadcom's $4 trillion. So you're way underneath $3 trillion. You're way underneath where I believe it should trade. It held the 200 period moving average. It held the 50 period. Well, now it's above it. Let's see if it can hold it. And then this is when SoftBank was interested. So they divested some of their AI plays. So I think if they get excited again, I wouldn't be surprised if they come back to Marvell and, gives them that little bit of a boon to the upside. Look, it's been a bad 1 year. This is last year, January. This is January 25, where we at 130. All right. I mean, the AI spend has gotten extremely larger since this time, and yet the stock goes to the downside. I think there's a lot of money for Marvell, and it's just waiting there. They just need to grab it, and in a better market, I think the stock goes. But for me today, I wrote down on the sticky note 81. And that's coming more and more likely. Like when it was at 85, I was like, if we get 81, maybe that's a good little level there to try to bounce off of. And, could be something there. We haven't seen it in a minute, 81. So there was 80 all week. Last week we were above it. Obviously, when we went long in the contest, or actually just checked the price, was 82.50 or something. So that's basically where we are right now. So it's done nothing for like a month and a half. And I was just thinking 81, that's where we closed last week. And this week we sort of bounced off 80 as a high. So between $80 and $81, I think, is a buy for Marvell. But honestly, with this market doing that, I'm thinking about just scrapping that idea period. Like, you got to let this thing settle down. And like I was saying on my post there, and thank you everybody for checking it out. And I'm going to put it in the chat again to see what people think, because I do think it's important to look at things like this. So see, it's not about buying a failed move. What we're trying to do is undercut some of these moves. So what I mean by that for your long. So what we're actually looking for here is, oh, we just lost that camera. I just, you see, look what just happened to this camera right there. But anyways, if you come back to it, it's waiting for a strong move to go, and then letting it sort of give you that pain trade and then getting long. Like yesterday on Palantir, we had a very, very similar trade where it went down into, and we went long. This is 2 days in a row that we tried this Palantir trade. We didn't get it 2 days ago, but we got it yesterday. And it was basically just when we had this move down into an area that we thought could hold, that's where we started to go a little long, right? And so you find an area, wait for a dramatic move to come down, and then wait for that pop up. Generally, you're looking for like a bigger volume spike to have that happen to you. We got a little too early there on Wednesday, but that same move happened where we went down $2 or $3, stopped, made that low, and then boom, there's that sort of that uppercut into that trade again, right? And maybe I just worded it wrong, but here's another example right there where this is Palantir. I know we're talking about Marvell, but I've been trading this. So, there's an upside move, a pretty aggressive upside move. Instead of playing momentum, wait for it to sort of die down, and then you can catch sort of the back end. It's like a mean reversion type of thing. But at the end of the day, I like Marvell today. It's just, I think it's a danger spot. That's all. With the Nasdaq moving like this, Nvidia's going down, Broadcom, like they're all floating to the downside. So I think it's easy day for people to pick fish in a barrel, and today might be Marvell's day. I mean, up 10%, right? I mean, it's an easy one to fire off at, because if you went long, like imagine you're long yesterday and you see this happen to the market, you might just take
ring the register.
Yeah, you might just ring the register. So give it a little bit of time, and then we'll go from there.
I almost think after 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't make a bottom after 10 o'clock, at least you could also try to buy where everyone else has been buying, and that's been this 200. So if it loses $80, I think that's going to be a good spot. Like, look at all of the support down there in the 79.80. Like, there was all kinds of consolidation, with the exception of the flush yesterday. But the rest of the week, all kinds of buying from 78 to 79. So I think there is going to be a bottom on it, but I wouldn't look for the reversion until that first half an hour is done. Let things settle down a bit. Future's still making some fresh lows here.
There's a super chat. Was that a super chat or was that a comment?
It was a super chat about.
Okay, yeah. So ASML and all these stocks, like. Yeah. Honestly, I was actually thinking about, I'm not even in any of these. I know Sharif and Neil are, but it's just like, this is down 6%. Like, there's a lot of sort of, I don't want to say crashing happening here, because I don't, like the way it's moved, you're happy holding ASML and LAM and all these stocks. But, talk about like feeling good about a space. I really like sort of, this fab and all this kind of stuff, like being able to produce the equipment. I mean, we just saw 630 billion, Sharif just dropped that number for CapEx spend. I mean, someone's got to, produce and make all this equipment. Like, this is down to 1292 right now, off of like, Sharif, this was, and Neil, this was just almost it was $1,600. Now you're getting at 1,300. Seems like a steal to me. And then LRCX would be another one, LAM research, that I really love this stock too. I mean, I got to try to figure out which one has the best sort of IP here, but this was just 250. Like, I didn't even, and thanks for pointing
The biggest difference between the two is like how.
Oops, thanks for pointing that out. I didn't realize, yeah, go ahead, but I didn't realize it was happening.
ASML. The only reason I think you would try not to prefer ASML is if you honestly think that China and the world can try to do what they do in a different way, because right now you cannot make advanced chips without their lithography machine, and it's just, they have such a huge advantage because of that it gives them a lot of wiggle room. But it's losing the. I've never really been smart enough to catch these tops. Like, the last time I told Sharif, like I trimmed on the upside, but then missed on that trim like a good 20% of that move up. So like, I'm not looking to trim because I kind of did so on the way upside. But I think out of the two of them, I don't own LAM. I speak highly of LAM, but I don't own that one. I'm more inclined to still be buying dips into ASML. But they're both fantastic names. It's just how you want to play this AI trade. Like, I feel like a name like these guys, and then energy side of it, I really do like. Although, speaking of energy, not everything is to the downside. I know the market looks really bad. Hopefully you've got some oil in your life.
But take out the highs here for USO. I mean, you can bring up any of the producers. They're looking very similar, but oil itself actually about to take out the highs as well. Back above 86 here this morning. We were sitting here yesterday talking about $80, and here's $6 more.
And some analysts are saying $150. I really hope we don't even see 100. Brent crude, computer's doing its own thing over here. Brent crude rose about 2 1/5 here up to 87.27 barrel. That is a fresh 52-week high. And the rally here erased the earlier overnight dip as traders, of course, reassess the supply disruptions in the Middle East. Crude is now on track for its largest weekly gain since Russia's invasion of Ukraine back in 2022. Of course, the conflict has significantly affected traffic through that very narrow Strait of Hormuz, and reports are indicating tanker traffic through the strait has slowed dramatically. And even Qatar's Ministry of Energy Minister, warned that Gulf exporters could halt shipments within days if tankers are unable to safely pass. We've seen many European countries send military assets over there to protect their ships. We'll have to see if that makes any difference, Brendo. Some analysts, as I mentioned, believe the oil could spike to $150 a barrel in the coming weeks if the strait becomes fully blocked. And as we know, oil prices briefly dipped, overnight, as the U.S. issued a 30-day waiver allowing India to resume purchases of Russian oil. Washington had previously imposed 25% penalty tariffs on India for buying Russian oil, but they have since waived that because of the increase in price.
As we were saying earlier, some of the biggest movers yesterday in the energy group were actually on the smaller cap scale and the smaller price size. Probably going to be the same thing today.
Absolutely.
I mean, some of the bigger producers not really doing much.
TPET, Brendo, BATL, there's a INDO, there's no shortage of smaller names.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out, guys. Thoughts here for energy?
Yeah, I mean, I threw Oxy. I've been trading Oxy mostly this week. Since the earnings, I guess that would have been like, last week as well, or 2 weeks ago. And it's been on a nice stair step to the upside. But what's happened here is, and we kind of already went over this, but at the same time, you've been gapping. Every time you've gapped above this 54, 55 level, you've rejected it and pulled back in, gap up, and then rejected it with the same level of resistance holding. So if this resistance holds as support, I think you got a breakout in Oxy. On the other side of the coin, though, I think these small cappers, you're already seeing a little bit of a turn here as some of the old names coming back in and Indo starting to pull back. If there's any positive headline, these are the ones. I mean, sort of like positive headlines, dropping oil prices, so like, good in terms of progress in the war. But if that happens, I want to look at one of these for reversion short. Like, I'm not saying I want to short this now, but we're kind of gallivanting, and if we get too far up here, I'd look for a turn, kind of like you saw in TPET yesterday, TPET. I think looking at that for Indo later on in the session is going to be something that I do. So this is the one I paid for locates on. This is the one I'll wait for, but it's Oxy that I'm going to like on the trade here. CVX has done fantastic. I just feel like that's diddling in the middle of nowhere, just in the middle of the range instead of right at key levels.
All right, so I've put on a couple trades the last few days in Occidental here, and if you go over to my sticky note, I have Occidental written down long at 54. So oil ripping again this morning, man. Watch for a pullback. If it holds VWAP, that could set up for a solid long. So I've been looking at this the last couple of days, so I'm going to trade Occidental down here. It's almost at 54 right now. I'll cancel. I have a bid there now. I'm going to cancel it. So you just maybe just remove it there from 54 even. Let's see what happens off the open. It's up 2%. Just made a move down into 54.10. Spread is about 25 cents right now. We were trading in, and we said this yesterday, even at this level right there. I forget what we were trading something else. Maybe, was it silver? I can't remember at the end of the day yesterday, but and I was looking at Oxy and saying, you know what, this looks like a pretty decent level underneath VWAP, underneath the 200 period, and then we started to make that move down. So I don't know, that's why I said let's look at VWAP. It's now losing the bid right now, and so it's a good thing that we canceled that 54 because it's going to lose it. And there we go down to the downside. The reason why we liked 54, and I sort of showed you this earlier today, was this was an area of concern. It couldn't make up its mind, and then eventually lost it. So today, and that was again on that news, mid-afternoon, that they were going to try to, curb the price of oil using the futures. So I don't know what exactly that means, but you could see today oil is up quite nicely and Occidental up 1.5%. So let's just see if it can base out right now. I'm going to pull back from that 54 call and just wait to see if we can, base and then go. But definitely a name that I'm all over here today, Occidental. I don't know the last time it was even on the list, but it's on there right now. So IBIT, Oxy, the Nasdaq, and then we're looking at some Marvell. So should be good. And then I've added Nvidia. What are we doing? Crypto Nvidia. Okay. So we have Nvidia coming up as well. I've added this to the note, but again, like everything is starting to bleed downside. We could see a minus 3% day here in the Nasdaq.
I'm not liking this either. Also following suit with equities to the downside. That's just IBIT. A couple of 15-minute bars. Not looking too healthy right now. It was short-lived, that pop that we had 2 days ago. It's been nothing but downside since.
Yeah, down yesterday and down today, losing 70. I think it's at 68 and change right now, Brendo. Sell-off comes as investors, of course, are reacting to the geopolitical risks tied to the disruptions in the Middle East, which increase, volatility amongst risk assets, and Bitcoin still is. So that's what it is. More than $250 million in crypto positions were liquidated in the past 24 hours, with the majority of those liquidations being long positions, which suggests, traders had been positioned heavily here for a continued upside move after the previous rally. Also, open interest in Bitcoin, Joey, futures dropped about 5.8%, and that's signaling reduced leverage as well as speculative activity. Cryptocurrency market dropped about 2.2%, losing $2.5 trillion. It's now at $2.41 trillion. And some analysts believe, the recent rebound in Bitcoin was just a bit of a relief rally as we had sold off quite aggressively. I was telling Joey on the Midday show yesterday that bounce back, that consolidation area at 60, that move back up looks awfully like a bear flag. Right?
Yeah, and we're heading back to the downside of that, unfortunately. It's worth noting, VIX just made a new high as well, tagging 28 again, guys.
Yeah, not a surprise. And it's back at those highs, right? Because that was the local high on VIX where we got to. So, the 40 is going to have to be in the rear view, at least temporarily, but I don't necessarily think it's impossible for us to get that kind of a bounce. I think the snapback, if we get a run at the open, oftentimes it's when we have an 830 number that you can get a bit of a bigger reversal type trade. So I wouldn't rule out the 40. That's what I threw down because we were sitting here, it was support into resistance. It's kind of obvious on the 15-minute chart, but there's also going to be this 39.5. If we end up holding here, and that'll be underneath 70,000, obviously, and then the 69 quarter or so range if you're looking at spot Bitcoin. That's where I would look. So yeah, it's going to be favoring the short. We're going to have to wait to short these pops. Not good for crypto. You probably want to, if you're Tom Lee and you're looking at one of these, like an MSTR for Mr. Saylor, or if you're looking at ETH and BMNR, it's got a ways till it gets to the support that's been in here. I don't think it's very likely we can see that flat bottom break. I was talking about this one as nasty if we get down there, but we're not close enough that I would be thinking flat bottom break on BMNR. This might be something next week that comes into play. For today, it'll have to be Bitcoin. IBIT.
Yeah, I mean, I have IBIT. IBIT's the number one stock for me today is IBIT. So we're just going to have to try to fade it off of this 39. I mean, now it's going to have to be VWAP. I had written down 40 and a quarter. That's where the 200 period was when we had first started this move today. And, when I write this down, we're at $40. So I was thinking like, hey, man, if we just bumped up 25 cents, we'd take the short. Instead, we went down about $1.50. So yeah, I mean, as Sharif said, we lost 70,000 there. So I'm still going to keep this on the radar despite its recent move. I still like the short. We'll start it at 39.50 at VWAP, and then we'll trade up to 40 and give ourselves to 40 and a quarter, man. I don't want to get out of this name unless it absolutely screams, which means the market would scream, which means I'd be short pretty much everything else. I'm trying to fade pops. IBIT is not allergic to that. So I'm going to fade any sort of a pop in IBIT. And right now I'm sitting at 39.50. Hopefully at doesn't fill me in the pre-market, and if it starts to rip up, I may cancel it. I don't really want an early fill, I just want the right fill. So if that comes in 39.50, that's VWAP. Right now, we're not really seeing anything here on the imbalance locator that gives us too much of a worry. I mean, a lot of buys, a lot of sells. I mean, it's kind of mixed. If anything, there's more bids than offers on here. So, you know, we'll just wait to see what it winds up doing. The Nasdaq names will come at 9.25. And right into here, you see BMNR, just a small little sell, 100,000 shares. That's not going to do anything. IoT is a small buy as well. And then all the Nasdaq will fill out. So right now, it's pretty mixed. We could see a big move on 9.25. Yeah, that's IBIT for right now. Next move is Nvidia, and Nvidia is really taking it on the chin right now, down to 179 already.
Yeah, similar to what happened midday yesterday on these headlines, but more details coming out on these possible restrictions as far as AI chips, specifically exports from. It's not going to just be Nvidia, obviously, but across the entire industry.
Exactly. It's both the big boys there. This is a bit of an older story. It came in at around the midday yesterday, but we didn't report it to you guys in the morning. So let's talk a little bit about it now. Both Nvidia and AMD shares moved lower Thursday after reports that President Trump's administration is drafting new rules requiring specific licenses for nearly all exports of advanced AI chips. The current regulations kind of only apply to about 40 countries. These would apply to basically the entire world. But there are different kind of grades of these restrictions. Let's talk about the first. If you're going to ship up to 1,000 NVIDIA GB300 GPUs, you would have to go through a review process that may allow for certain exemptions depending on the buyer and the location. Larger deployments, though, will require formal pre-clearance before companies can apply for export licenses. And for extremely large projects, which is defined here to be more than 200,000 GPUs in a single country, the host government would actually need to participate in the approval process. And moreover, they would probably also have to invest in the United States to get that many shares. So it's not intended, Brendo, to be a blanket export ban, but more of as a mechanism to give Washington oversight.
And more downside for some of these names this morning. AMD actually a little bit worse. It's noting or worth noting right now.
What are you gonna do? Like this was, regardless of what happened at 8:30, I was looking at AMD to the south side. Regardless, it just felt like you saw what happened in the afternoon. It lost the $200 level in particular, which was so key. Like that's the thing. Like 200, this was a rocket ship yesterday, and 200 was good support twice. And when it lost it, look at how crazy it was. So obviously, if we had gotten a pop or if we just held shortly under 200, that would have been a nice resistance to work off of. But we can be patient for this. You were at yesterday's lows. I gotta at least think there's a decent chance you get some kind of a bounce here off the open to have sold this much on that 830 number and here. The other thing is you're at some pretty decent support levels on the daily, so I could see a bit of a bounce to be able to fade this back into the volume weighted average price will look first, but it's still that 200 level. I wouldn't mind getting a crack at that, even if it gets really strong. So first look will be sort of at those pre-market lows and the volume weighted average price, but I still want to think short on AMD. Yeah, yesterday, this is one of the few things, like, well, Bitcoin maybe too, but you know, regardless of what happened at 8:30, it was looking in this direction anyways.
Every single day this week, my number one stock has been the same stock, and it'll try to be Nvidia again today. And you know, I added it to the note, but unfortunately, you know, like I added it to the note at 182 to think about the short, and it's just like now it's way down. So I think I mean, you know, everything's pointing to the downside. I feel like there is going to be a little bit of a bump in the market to start with here. That generally has been what's been happening. You know, we've seen like huge moves early. Like yesterday, you know, this was kind of what Nvidia was doing in the pre-market. We did make a move from 181 down to, yeah, I guess 180.50. It wasn't a huge move. And then we popped up, and then we came back, and then we popped, and then we came back and gave us that same level again before going higher. So, and then obviously that dropped midday. And then we'll wait to see here if we have something similar, but just turn the chart around, and we'll wait to see if we can get some tops that will give us reasons to short it, right? So right now it's looking to me like a 180 play. Well, we still have lots of time here. 180 might be a jam. I mean, yesterday it was sort of stopped right there. We broke through. That was good. We broke through pretty clean. We came back, tested it, held, went up to 181, came back, tested it. We dropped down a little. Actually, no, that's not even 180. What am I doing? That's 180.20. That's 180 down here, actually. So scrap that. I put it at the wrong level. We'll delete it if I know how, which I remove. Okay, so there we go. Good. See, learning something new every day. But there it is, right there, 180. So breaks through, goes, come back, test, hold, comes back, test, hold, come back, test, hold. Nice move to the high side, comes down, holds downside. So if anything, we're going to look at a 180 potentially short, but I don't want to take it right away. VWAP is where I'd like to short it if we do rip up. So 180.50 or so right now for Nvidia, looking pretty clean. The reason why we took the 182 for granted, or looked at it, was this is where this 200 period moving average was. But look, it hasn't really been, 200 period really hasn't been anything. It was pretty choppy there yesterday around it. So I'm not, anchored to that idea, but I do like a 180 where we just put this line. You can see it was a pretty good level there. So 180, maybe looking to start a short in and around there, but again, nothing for the first couple minutes. I mean, what a dramatic move we had seen in the futures off that job number, right? 4.4% unemployment, and then minus 92,000 versus a plus 50-ish thousand in print expectations. So yeah, jobs market looking weaker this morning, and so does the Nasdaq and the ES. I mean, both really been, taking it on the chin both ways. Sometimes you get one moving and not the other, but today Nasdaq is downside. 30 seconds till the imbalances, and one more story here about Nike restructuring.
Yeah, not great storyline, not great chart either for Nike continuing its downside move here. That's, a week and a half or so of price data, just nothing but straight southbound. 300 million charge coming through here.
300 million, Brendan, and they're down 9% year to date and about 26%, let's call it, over the last year. So it hasn't been a good look, as you said. $300 million pre-tax charge, largely tied to employee severance costs as the company kind of restructures parts of its business. The charges are going to occur over the 9-month period ending on the 28th, which ended, I should say, on the 28th of February, with most of the expenses going to be recognized in fiscal third quarter of this year. Management said they're evaluating ways to operate more efficiently and improve profitability. They did note that they could take additional restructuring charges in the future as they look to right size. And they filed something called a warrant filing out in Tennessee, and that revealed their plans to cut about 583 jobs in the Memphis Nike retail service facility. The layoffs are scheduled to take effect April 3rd. The company did not disclose, though, the number of jobs that are going to be impacted globally, just kind of talking about that Tennessee place. And they're going to report fiscal third quarter earnings. Third quarter? Yeah, third quarter. March 31st at 4:15, and then the call is going to be at 5.
We'll keep an eye out for that. Just quick recap here as we head towards the open, guys. Lots of people still coming in. Happy Friday, first of all. If you missed it, huge negative print on the non-farm payrolls this morning at 8:30. Comes in negative 92,000 versus 59,000 to the upside expected. We also got an unexpected uptick. That's kind of small. Unexpected uptick there on the unemployment rate, 4.4% versus 4.3% expected. It's worth noting nothing else too significant as far as economic releases, but as you saw there, a long list of Fed speak throughout the entire day, basically today, guys. Good luck.
Yeah, good. Yeah, definitely good luck, everybody. And I'm pretty sure, like daily, you're going to hear some reaction to the labor market because I think that's going to be all the rage. It might shift the odds down the line of a rate cut, but we're not expecting one anyways. Nike might flat bottom break. Not really on the trade plan, but no, not looking good. I wouldn't be trying to catch that bid. Good that they're restructuring and trying something new, and hopefully it'll start working before it gets to the absolute bottom. Unfortunately, they're only Pfizer on this locator, although in a minute or so we're going to get some Nasdaq names on the imbalance locator coming on through. The market is attempting to make a slight bounce. I say attempting, it's not really doing that much off of the lows, but the Nasdaq did just make a fresh bottom. Looking AMD, didn't really bounce at all there. Oxy is bouncing, so that caught a bit of a bid. Interesting that this kind of fell with the rest of the market despite some oil strength, but it caught a nice bid in here and looking to hold some of those prior day highs. The small cappers are looking pretty good. If you're looking at some of those small cap oil names, they're all catching good bounces as well. And one more for you, because this is one name that I don't think we got a chance to talk too much about. We may have briefly mentioned SoFis and the Robinhoods. SoFi, suffice to say, it is nowhere near that 19.5 resistance that was like a triple top this week. So you're going to be patient. I do like that resistance for a short, but you're now sitting a full $1 away from it on a $20 stock. So that could be something to look at maybe later on in the session, I would think.
Yeah, we're now a minute and a half away. Just quickly checking on Marvell. Again, if there's a big, wow, okay, let's go Marvell. I was like, if there's a big move down here, we want to take the Marvell long, but Marvell's already starting that long without us, taking out pre-market highs. So yeah, nice move there on Marvell. We really like that one. And then the other play that I'm concerned about is IoT. A little bit less secure about IoT moving higher than Marvell, of course, with the float and, you know, with how the stock moves. We have to be careful with Samsara, but those are two good earning plays that we've got, especially there, Marvell. I'm looking to fade any sort of Nvidia pop upside, so we'll see. I'm waiting right now at VWAP 180.50, so just going to give you guys my playbook like I do every single morning. IBIT as well right now. This is all for free, of course. IBIT 39.50. I'm actually sitting right now at 39.50. We'll see if we can get that fill back up to view. I just want to see if we do bump here. That's all. Occidental, I written down 54, but with oil. This was right, that's so stupid. Like, remember when it was 54 and I said, oh, I'm canceling my 54 bid? Well, that's what we had there, and I didn't want to take it in the pre-market. Damn, shorty. That would have been right there already. We would have made our daily goal already if we had it, but we don't, so that's fine. 54 bounces, so I think we can probably trust that level. Oh, man, and then that's the only other thing. And then we had a fade in the Nasdaq, which is, you know, doing the work for us right now. So I'm sitting here as well. I'm sitting a little earlier, man, on the TQQs. I'm sitting at 48.40s. Well, now that's right where VWAP is. So right into there. We'll see if we can get a little bit of a bump up. Missed opportunities with Marvell. And more importantly, with Oxy. More importantly today, good luck to the Maple Leafs as they look to get a few more draft picks in their cabinet, as it is the trade deadline day for the NHL. Okay. Yeah, so far so good here. Look at this stock, man.
Wow, Microsoft went green.
Yeah, one of the best stocks in the whole freaking place. Look at Palantir. Whoosh! Right there, Palantir up $3 right off the open as that name kicking it old school right there. Nice move as it comes right back in, of course. And then IBIT would be, oh, we're into something. What the hell did we just get into? Right there. We are into, as my mouse flew. Oh, we're into Nvidia.
It's IBIT.
It's Nvidia right now. Yeah, Nvidia goes all the way up to these levels. Now we got to be very, very careful because realistically, I wanted 182 on Nvidia. Right now, we're short right here. I mean, this is the price that we mentioned. So let's see what happens here with Nvidia. We're short early. I don't know. Let's give this a little bit of room here. But early short, just 1 unit play so far.
Yeah, well, I guess that's probably a VWAP because that's exactly where AMD is headed as well. In AMD into VWAP. Looks like Oxy just headed right back to the downside. Okay. I thought Oxy had a chance to break out. That is not happening on Occidental. Wow, that was, look at the crazy candles. You know it's Friday when? You're basically back and forth like $1.50 here. They're buying up AMD off the 195. It's got some support tracking. I'm going to try to scalp and see if we can't get out of that one. Oxy, like I said, Oxy heading back into the downside. Might have to be patient waiting for that dip. Looking pretty crazy there.
Yeah, we're about to get stopped out here on Nvidia. I mean, we're in this price. We'll see if we can get out a little bit here. If it does wind up coming back in just a tad for us, would be nice if that happens. So right now we're short at 64s. I'm going to give this to about 181 and see what happens there. But short right now at 64. I'm bidding 50s and I'm bidding 30s, and we'll bid a little lower than that. So we just need one little swipe down to get our first piece out. And we're just going to try to do what we do, man. There it is. Okay, so nice move downside. We just get a little swipe there at 50, take a piece out, looking for a little swipe more down into the 30s. And then we'll see if we can hold it against sort of the high right now. What's 181, where your 200 period moving average is. So here it comes. We get one piece out. But yeah, I mean, market not moving, but these chip names, there we go, sure are. So a quick little in and out there on Nvidia. Yep. We might have just taken out the highs, but we got stopped out there, which might have been a mistake. We'll see. We want to be patient. Oh, yeah, back down.
Too patient on Oxy. Dang it. Dang it, Boomhauer. I'll take the L on AMD. As you can see the chips going to the upside. But Occidental, which was, and you're looking at two things at once, but the one that you're in, that's the level 2 that you're on, and that's the one you're focused on. Oxy right back off of prior day resistance and looking like it wants to break this out through the volume weighted average price. You know what's going down easily is Bitcoin. Even as the market's
He
bouncing.
came to 54 again, Oxy did? Oh my
There we
God,
go.
Sean, what are you
even
doing?
even as the market bounces, Bitcoin, which I was sitting at VWAP, would have been nice if that came into the volume weighted average price, but it doesn't. That'll sit at 39.4, so that's where I'll try to grab this if we get any kind of a bounce here. So yeah, maybe let things settle down. It's Friday. With options expirations, you get a little more volatility off of the open. So let's be patient. First trade, not good. Oxy going higher. Bitcoin doing absolutely nothing. Probably SoFi is not, whatever. SoFi is still going lower. Market recovers, but not these guys.
What is this, amateur hour over here? I mean, that Occidental, came to 54 again, the exact price that we wrote down. So I'm going to slap the Dollar Club for anybody that actually listened to myself right there. So congratulations if you have that one, man. I mean, that looks like a monster trade, and there it goes. Just kind of peed off that I don't have it, but we went back into the short here for Nvidia. We're now 40 cents in the money. We're looking for lower. Man, okay, let's take a piece out now, 95s. All right, well, we'll make a little bit of money back. That's fine. We'll move on. All right, so IBIT we like that Oxy long. We like the Nasdaq short if it's going to give it to us right there. We do have now almost $1 back in on Nvidia, so that's good. At least we stuck with our plan there. But that's that look. And then the TQs here, just looking at the chart. VWAP still 48.20s. What's up, Joe? 48.20 there. Let me guess. What do you have? Occidental, or what do you got over there? Joe, what trade you got? Oh, he's not even listening. He's just celebrating. Okay, so we'll go back to Joe in a minute. 48.50 for TQs. If it rips up, good. But if it doesn't, fine. Nice little push down again here now for Nvidia. I'm bidding 180.50 now. Maybe we got to get a little bit higher than that. Let's put something here in the 70s again, and we'll see if we get that fill. But there it is. We get it as well. So, making the money back now on Nvidia, but so far, so good on that one. We just missed Occidental. That's too bad. Like that's a really rookie mistake there. I mean, I've written it down twice, and we even talked about it in the pre-market. It's like, oh man, if we just took that, it would have been great. But oil right now is going to be the trade. Yes, Nvidia. There it is, man. You're back in now. There's $1 on the downside for NVDA. So we're still in that short right now. Nvidia. We'll go 1 for 1. One loser, one winner on the same stock, NVDA.
Yeah, I'm going to be patient on this Oxy. I'm not chasing this move at all. There's also going to be those small cappers that are moving, obviously, to the upside as well. And IBIT, we're going to change our entry target from, if it's a lower high here, then it's a lower high here at 39.2. We're holding on to 69K to the downside, so that's where I want to try to jump into. It's trend down. Even when the market was bouncing, this sucker was going to be trend down for sure. Unfortunately, Nvidia or AMD did not get anywhere near that $200 level for a second entry point, so it's going to have to be IBIT. Breaking lows, looks like 68,000 could be a loser here for, well, at least for IBIT. I haven't really tracked one of those other names are doing, like, I haven't checked anything except for Bitcoin. ETH is underneath 2,000. I can see that now. It's just breaking. But I want this. We've got to be patient when it comes to Occidental. I'm not chasing a high break on a Friday. Do not like breakout trades of fresh highs. And it's been failing the $55 level pretty much all week. Like there was a couple of gaps up over that price that were easily rejected. So got to be careful with that.
All right, man, now $1.20, $1.30 in the money now on this Nvidia short. Oh, man, still about that Occidental. Let's check out what's going on here with Bitcoin. I mean, another short that we liked, but this one, at least it didn't really give us the trade that we were looking for. I mean, we were waiting for a VWAP push, and that just now is, nice downside play. I mean, if I was saying that the Nasdaq could be down like 2.5%, 3% today, well, it's starting right now. You are getting this dropout right here through the low of the day now on the TQQs. Will we hold it? I think it might be worth a little bit of a shot there breaking through on the short now for the TQQs. So have a quick little look and see what that one wants to do now. But I'm thinking, we don't mind this short at all if it does come in here. And it's just trying to break right now. 20, looks like it says 23. I guess is the short. Did we just make that right there, 24, 25s or so anyways? A little bit of a bounce back up into 50 gives us this 50 period moving average. So let's go short now and we'll see. There we go. So now we've got it. I basically just against, like, it might take us out immediately, but against that 50, let's go a little bit higher there into like 60s or so. So we'll try the short now on the Nasdaq. We may be too late. We're still a buck in on this one here with Nvidia. We'll see if we get a lower take, but right now we're going to go short the market with the TQQs. And just put a little bit of 10% or so out here in the low 20s, see if we do get that low of the day, and then maybe we can hold this one for a much bigger winner. But I'm going to use 60 as my out. So we're already we just made 1-to-1. We didn't take it out. So be careful here with the Nasdaq. It's still a little bit early, right? It's only 9:38.
Yeah, we haven't put in that first 15-minute candle hasn't come in just yet, but it looks like we're tracking back in toward the lows. Oxy just bounced off the volume-weighted average price, so that'll be VWAP early, but it's also a bit of a resistance that was sitting at 54.8. I have my eyes on that Indo, everybody. I know we're not looking at the small caps for you, and whoops, it's not INDO. It's INDO, but it looks like it might break down. I paid for locates here, but that was if it went parabolic up, so I'm not really thinking flat bottom break. If it holds under VWAP, I like the play underneath the volume-weighted average price for the short on one of these small cappers, and this is the one that I'm watching, INDO. I do think I want to try a second shot at AMD, but I want to be a little bit patient with it. We shorted it back into this local high here, right at 830. Basically, it was the high at 830, and now you're breaking back higher. So 198 I'm going to use as this wick stop if I can get picked up on advanced micro devices a second time. So that's what we're watching. Bitcoin still tracking towards the lows. Haven't been able to get a fill on the upside to go short there.
No, nothing. We got taken out at 60 there on the Qs. I don't know. Still looking around, man. I mean, for me, it was all about that Oxy miss at 54. We'll see if it can come back in. Still trying to get it if it does do that. Let's check out what oil's doing quickly here as the market bounces around. $89 now. Wow, oil are now up 10% and going higher there. What's my guy up to here? What's Marvell saying? What the? Yeah, baby. We are really exciting about that right here. So let's just have a checkout right here. 87, nice move to the downside, 87 and change right there. Hearing that Tesla's going
about Canada?
Yeah, it's going to pull away all their Model 3s from Canada right now. So
that's not.
Congratulations if you don't have one. I already do, but you're going to have to now get it on the used markets, it seems like. But there's Tesla. They're not happy about the Chinese EV names coming into Canada, so they are pulling out of Canada right now. So there you go, man. Sticking with their guns. What's up, Adara?
Waiting to see this Tesla story, but I will let you know with regards to the market. Kevin Hassett making some comments right now. That is, of course, the White House economic advisor. He said that, he doesn't really see any issues here with the private credit market. We know that's been, rumors that's been a bit of a concern here for the market as a whole. He said he's not seeing anything similar to what happened in 2008. He also said that the markets will, quote, move forward quickly when Iran is resolved. So much like President Trump, Kevin Hassett seems to be of the belief here that concerns with the market and increases in oil prices are going to basically all go away and be like it never happened once the Iran situation is cleared up in their view. We do have numbers at 10 a.m., nothing massive, as Brendan indicated earlier, but we will be getting that business inventory month-over-month print. I'll be delivering that to you guys at 10, and I'll see you earlier than 10 if we get any economic data talk coming through. Back to you.
All right, I actually took Tesla short there on that news. I don't, just thinking, right, it's they're lowering their TAM, so you get out of Canada, it's just less opportunities to sell the cars. I don't know if it's what exactly this means for, the long play here, like long-term play for Tesla. But I think for short right now, we're pretty fine with what we're doing. I'm going to get out a little bit more here. We just got some out at 70s. We're going to wait for 50s. Again, I have another bid at 70. What's up, A?
I just want to let you know with this Tesla story, it looks like it's 2 days old.
Okay.
So it's a couple days old, and apparently the inventory was removed over the weekend, so last weekend. So that's the context here, just so everyone's aware, because I was wondering why I hadn't heard anything about it, so I Googled it.
Right.
That's probably why.
Okay, yeah, if it's if no one's heard about it, then is it really that old? But we're gonna wait to see here what happens here. As it takes out 396, we're out. So just a quick play here. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure what this exactly means for Tesla, but yeah, it's a short for me now anyways. If we do break out through that 396, that's that most recent high right there, then we'll stop out, right? But for right now, we'll hold this short, see if we can print a little bit on this one, get some out in the 70s again, if we're able to. That was our first out, was 80 actually, so now we'll wait for 70s and then 50s, and then we'll see if we can break the low. So that's it, man. We basically got a low print already. We're trying to give this a little bit of room. But that's it for me there on Tesla. So an interesting story right there.
Interesting story, but again, I don't know. I lean to the whole, if nobody paid attention to it the first time, did it even matter? I got some back, but I kind of keystroked out of AMD there a quick second ago. I was punching out of, well, I thought I was punching out of something else, and we end up punching out of AMD. Going to try to get back in on that lower high, as you can see there, but Oxy losing the bid, does not hold on to VWAPs. We'll stop to fail on that one, at least for now. But AMD, now some lower highs are being put in. I'll try to reload it. My stop is that lower high where we want to grab it. Bitcoin's still going to be tracking that one. I can cancel my VWAP trade. We're looking at the lower highs here. It doesn't seem to want to do too big of a move to the upside, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, I guess, if you're already holding the short, but it's starting to get into this hole. You're going to have a, let me cancel this, show you. You're going to have a trend from the open into this lower high. So if it breaks that trend, I got to think about VWAP as the short instead of shorting that little opening range trend line. It's only the first 15-minute candle, which is about to come in here on BTC. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But yeah, those small cappers also moving around. I know MOBX was another one, or MOBX.
Come on, Nvidia.
MOBX was another one that was going. It's lost the dollar, and when it loses the dollar, sorry, no longer interested in MOBX. If it can get back above $1, fair enough. I might take a look at that one as well as Indo.
All right, I mean, we get our Nvidia at 182. So we actually get it. We got actually 181.50s right there. So we don't get that. I shouldn't say we get 182. We do not get 182, but we get the 182.50. We're taking now 50 cents on this play right now, and just hoping that we get a downside push now in the market to help us with this play. I'm going to bid again. I just bid some 06s, got a little bit more out right now. So now I have 2/3 left of this trade. You know, we could get back in. We're always looking at VWAP. So whoops. There's my VWAP right now, 180.70. So let's just make sure that we do have a bid down there to get out of something. We'll get a 15% if we do get that fill. And then we'll look to see a little bit lower for NVDA. But that was a price that we don't mind to grab. So that's that. We'll do it, and we'll do it kindly. We did have Oxy. It did come into 54 and lost it. So we got out of that immediately once it broke. So there it goes, man. We missed it twice. And, of course, third time a charm as it breaks lower. We can check out what's going on with oil because that's most likely the culprit here, as oil was up 10%, still is. So actually just a little small pullback in oil, but it does create a fall down there for Occidental. Looks like Nvidia is going to try to run that 182 right now. So
buyers are relentless at 196.
196. Oh, on AMD? Yeah, tough one. So it looks like we'll both...
No, it's good.
Oh, good, okay.
No, it's good because I keep scalping into that range, but it's like it doesn't, there's no follow through. So we're able to get something back. I'll be flat on AMD now, but there's no follow through to have gotten me green. And then remember the trend line on IBIT? We took it on the trend line, so I canceled VWAP and then took it on the trend line here and kind of got wicked out. I'm not gonna give up on the short, but above trend, wait VWAP or wait for resistance, underneath the trend line, I can jump back into the short underneath here. So it's a pretty tight line where I might be in and out a couple of times off this range and then waiting for it to move 1% if it does get to the upside. But for now, AMD, what I don't like about this is obviously it's kind of bull flagging, but it's still putting in lower highs. So as long as it continues to put lower highs, then I think it's okay. Well, I don't like that if Nvidia is breaking out. AMD's still putting in some lower highs. So it's still got a bit of a chance to still work, but not the way you're seeing it head to the upside over there in the Nasdaq. And actually not the Nasdaq, I mean in Nvidia as well.
Yeah.
The Nasdaq's still down.
Yeah.
And looking weak.
It sure is. We're still flat here on it. Well, now we're in the money. I mean, we're making the money now on Nvidia, but there's that 182. We just had to wait for it to come in here. So we have a real good sized position here because we don't have that much stop to worry about, right? We have 30 cents or so worth of a stop that we got to consider. We'll take out another bid at 52 because that gives us still that 1-to-1. So if we can get another 50 fill, we'll do that as our stop is 182. So right now we're flat on this trade, just waiting to see if there's any sort of reaction here. 947. So if we look to see like what kind of Fed speak, we do have today, if we go over to our watch list, and we say thank you, Adara, for the watch list again here today. There it is. So we don't have, we don't actually have any.
Sorry, they weren't on that calendar because a lot of times this Fed speak populates later, but Fed's daily and Paulson at 10:15, 11:30, you'll get Fed Schmidt, Fed's Cullen 1:20, Fed's Hammock 1:30. So we're going to get some Fed speak in like 30 minutes. I'm going to do a calendar for it quickly.
All right, yeah, you're good. I just wanted to check it because normally it is on there. So thanks to Dara for explaining that. And if you guys are looking for it, check TTV research. In just a couple minutes, she'll get that all out, it seems like. So that's good. But right now, it does look like Nvidia is trying to take out the top there again. So, hey, man, we tried it. We got a couple fills at 50. And right now, it's just funny because the Nasdaq's not moving, but definitely Nvidia is going to the upside. We'll check out. I mean, I'm going to get stopped out very, very soon. Marvell, though, wow. I mean, talk about making some money in the personal account. Marvell definitely up huge, 16% there for Marvell. And then here on IoT, up 13% as well. Pioneer and Reddit, we talked about that. Was that for you from yesterday? You had Pioneer yesterday, someone did. Good job on the Nvidia short.
I'm pretty sure it's the same.
Not Nvidia short yet.
Yeah, I think it's the same person from
right
yesterday.
now. So
Reddit short turned out. Yeah, well, I can tell you, Reddit does not look very good, but the market's not looking good either. Flat bottom break-ish. I know I say that a lot, but hey, you're in the weak support level for Reddit. If you're in the short, maybe you let it break through the low. Wasn't on the radar today. Wasn't sure if there was any kind of a story that I'm aware of. I don't think there is on Reddit. 4% down could just be reflective of what's going on in the market. But yeah, not looking good for this. It's a bit of a flat bottom break on the week. So when you're in the money, I don't like shorting lows, especially when you're in a potential bounce zone on the futures, but certainly it is looking pretty good. That said, there are times when you have to try. So maybe too tight of a stop on IBIT. So I'm going to try it again. The next available pop and maybe give it a little bit more room. I just heard Marvell might be making some fresh highs.
yeah, we just talked about it, man. It's up 17%.
Yeah, so that's where the strength is.
Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, look, Nvidia actually looks okay to the upside. But if you look at the memory chip names, if this will load in a second, they're starting to come back off of the schneid. Like a little bit of a V shape or a half V on Micron. Like you're above VWAP, you're really trying to crank here a little bit. The Qs are like they're rounding into a bottom. Like I don't want to tell you that they look strong,
come on,
but you've held the low from 830 and you're just consolidating. So see all this crazy chop? I almost feel like you need to resolve. Like we need to resolve this. Are we breaking higher above VWAP? Because I don't want to be shorting at the wrong end of the range. Like if it's sitting here in the middle and you get a short, you're kind of just going to get washed out when we press the highs. So like let it press the highs and then try to short into that move on something you like. And AMD is not really giving me those opportunities again. This one could break under VWAP for sure. So I'm going to be patient. I might let this one settle down for a couple of minutes before picking the next direction. Oh, yeah, one more thing. INDO did lose the volume weighted average price. You saw some of the old names come back in. That does include some of these small capper ones. Most of them lost a bid. And as long as we hold under VWAP, then I think they're short. Well, this one anyways.
All right, people talking about Palantir. Yeah, I mean, Palantir has been, damn it, man, what a great stock Palantir was today. It just took off right off the open. It kind of followed and matched kind of what the futures did early there, and now it's just doing its own thing. I mean, it's trying to get a little higher. So this is going to be a name that we could definitely look long, I would think, on PLTR. If we can get something back into like 150, 150, that's looking like a decent trade there as well. What is Netflix doing? NFLX? Is that breaking 100 yet? Yeah, close enough. Right now to 100 here on Netflix. So be careful with that one trying to go. There goes Nvidia. Finally breaks that 182, and there it goes upside. So we tried the short a little bit. There it goes, breaking through 182 now. So Nvidia's now gone straight up to the upside. Thanks, Marvell. You're really creating some nice moves higher here for everybody. Up now 16, 17% higher for Marvell. But Nvidia, oh man, maybe it's just we're just playing a little bit too, I don't really know what to think about this, but it's definitely making the moves now. NVDA breaking higher. So it's not really going meme crazy. We gave back, obviously, we just talked about how much we've made. This was the top stock the last 4 days for me. Today, it wasn't even on the list, but I did like it, and we'll give some back, obviously, as we try to take the short there on Nvidia, which is completely wrong as the market now rips higher. Let's try to flip it up now and watch out for this 181. If we get a pullback in there, we can try the long maybe on Nvidia at some point. But for right now, market did not go down like I sort of thought it would. It's if anything, it's going back up to the upside. So here comes Nvidia pulling a little bit back into 182 again.
Wow, yeah, and it's, like I said, we're still in the same range on the market. And for those that are, someone's like, oh, you're telling people to go short oil stocks with Strait of Hormuz closed. Well, try to remember there's a difference between what I think oil is going to do over the next days and weeks and what I think a random Indonesian energy name that pumps and dumps whenever there's spikes in oil is going to do in the next 30 minutes. That's a vast difference. And ultimately, these do pump and dump, and it's just a matter of sentiment. So like it kind of failed that breakout. As long as it holds under VWAP, which is a prior resistance, that's $6, I want to look for the short. Does it mean this isn't in an uptrend? No, but it just means technically it looks like a short-term short trade. That's all. And it's a day trade. And we are going to a DERA, I do believe. We have to keep our ear to the ground. You've got Goolsby speaking. At any moment, you know, one headline can move these markets.
I was going to let you guys know about Goolsby here. He's being actually kind of neutral, for lack of a better term, in spite of the data. He did say that it was a tough miss on today's jobs report, but that, I guess he's more concerned if you got several months like this rather than just one-off print. He also said that he does remain hopeful that we'll see progress on inflation. Of course, hope does not necessarily translate to results, but either way here, Fed's Goolsby with kind of midway, not super hawkish, not super dovish comments coming through. Again, we're going to get Fed's Daily and Paulson coming through in about 20 minutes. Back to you.
Dude, Kalshi was all beat on that number this morning. Like the betting markets had been doing pretty well with those numbers. So like to call it kind of a small surprise, it's not a small surprise at all. Like the reason I was calling it a nothing burger is I'm like, man, these betting markets have been pretty dead on with it, and they're suggesting a slight upward, beat on that number. So I would say it was a bit of a shock. That's just
I mean,
it's not like a small miss.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that did shock the market there. As we did a downside move, I don't know if there was someone said that Adair's mic maybe not acting properly, so we'll get that figured out. Okay, they're gonna fix it. Okay, good. Thanks, Andre, for that one right there. All right, we looked at Netflix earlier as well, and that one just didn't really bounce. I mean, it bounced pretty nicely off of $100. It got up to 100 right away, right off the open. Now it went down to 98, so a $2 little roller coaster there. Get your money lined up for Netflix. The ride is open. All right, silver as well, 75, so not doing a whole heck of a lot. Wanted to look at this today. I mean, it's up 1%, so that's nice. If anything, it looks like we have a base now on SLV. Not really moving enough for me to like be over there and try to like take advantage of some of these movements, but you do have 74.50. If you thought it was gonna lose it, might be a trade, losing this 74.50 area for silver. But do we think long or short right now for SLV, right? I mean, we can check to see what the USD is doing. Here's BTC. We're always looking at BTC there. And that right now, we saw a nice rejection of the 50-period moving average at 75. We didn't even really get there. DXY is what we're talking about. So let's have a quick look at this and go over to daily chart and go over to 5 minutes. All right, so yeah, the dollar is pushing back down in. That would give you a little bit of a boon for silver. We've seen the weak US dollar sort of react with a strong silver price, and SLV, of course, is not spot silver. We always talk about that, but the vehicle that we use to trade. So we can see that kind of a move. And if you're gonna look at spot silver, we could just go over here and see what it is right now per ounce, 83 and change. So you can see as the US dollar coming back in a little bit, we have 3 or 4 candles straight to the upside for SLV. So something to consider there for all you silver traders, as we'll look to see what happens with the US dollar and SLV there it goes, right? Breaking the high side of that trade right now. I still kind of like this break lower if we can get that. But for right now, silver just doing what it's doing, and that's going higher for SLV. And then I'll just check on gold, and then we can go potentially look at oil stocks again. But there it is right now. Yeah, gold also going to the upside. And then oil, just to check all the commodities before we see what Neil's up to. Yeah, so again, looks like it's pushing higher here. So we've got silver, gold, oil, all going higher as the Nasdaq's pushing lower here.
Oxy is consolidating for what it's worth. Okay. So that might be worth another shot at some point. I don't know, it's a really tight consolidation, but it's not at those lows where the support was for the last 2 days at about 53.25. So we took the consolidation on Indo. I'll zoom it back out because you can see the chart. So we're short in the bear flag. If it breaks the top of the bear flag, then we're out. We're playing it into the prior bar high. There, AMD's starting to look weak again. Well, I guess it didn't really look all that weak before, but now you're getting some more lower highs confirmed. So, that chop that we were putting in is starting to resolve itself, looking weak. So short back into VWAP is going to set up. And the backup plan is going to be these guys. Okay, so Revolutionary Guards have, or I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, look, It's nothing. We're just hearing stuff on our.
They want to target U.S. forces. That's all it is. Which is, of course, like that's not to dismiss it. That is serious. But yeah, so they're just saying they're going to be targeting U.S. forces in at a couple different bases. It looks like in UAE.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not going to end well for them. But like I said, so the backup plan, as I was trying to get to, Intel is at yesterday's double bottom low, so it's a significant level. It's also in a bit of a downtrend here. So if I don't get AMD, which I'm not sure it looks like I'm going to, there's your lower highs. There's a 44.9. So this one actually is setting up for a bit of a reversion trade here back in the lows. The only thing that makes it a kind of a B is you're at VWAP and just barely above it as opposed to underneath. But VWAP matters more later in the session than it does early for obvious reasons, right? Like it's a much more important metric when you get to the middle of the day. Netflix to crack 100 today.
I think maybe. I mean, the market's got to go first
Well,
for that to happen.
did you see what it did?
Yeah, it went to 100, then it went to 98. What's it at now?
It's at 98 again.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I did talk about it, but
I hope so, but
I don't know. We should have shorted the freaking Nasdaq
yeah,
at VWAP.
I hope so. It's just it keeps rejecting right underneath that price. The third day in a row that it's rejected that price. So
We're holding on to long Nvidia now. Yeah, I mean, Netflix has been a problem at those levels, and I just like, oh man, it showed up. I had to restart the scanner there. I don't know why the TQs isn't showing up. I have to double check if something's changed. No, because it went to VWAP, and that's generally a spot there that I would have liked to short. I mean, we even talked about shorting VWAP right onto there, so I don't really know what happened there, and I didn't get the alert, and I wasn't even paying attention. I was trying to run some Nvidia. I actually thought that when we got long there, that the futures could potentially bounce a little bit. Okay, now we're into Nvidia, man. We just get a low take, so we gotta definitely take advantage of that play now as we rocket now up to the upside for NVDA. No idea what's happening here, so okay, here we go. Goolsby now, I guess, Adara? Nice move up here. We'll go to Adara. Goolsby's talking, and we've got numbers. NVIDIA ripping to the high side here, finally.
I think the biggest thing we got from Goolsby a couple of minutes ago now that he thinks that maybe we can hopefully start cutting rates by the end of this year. So not super optimistic. Business inventories 0.1% forecast, 0.1% previous. We're going to get those in 1 second. Again, we are expecting this to be the same as the prior print. Comes in at 0.1%. So very much unlike the NFP and unemployment data we had today that was going to be outside the range of expectation. These U.S. business inventories, 0.1% versus 0.1% forecast and expected. Nasdaq does pop a little bit higher on this. And again, just to go over those NFP prints, non-farm payrolls, that was going to be a negative print, roughly negative 92,000. It's going to be well below estimates. And then, of course, unemployment rate 4.4%, a little higher than that 4.3% print that we were expecting. Fed's Goolsby speaking right now on TV. That's why he wasn't on the Fed calendar. I am still working on that Fed calendar for you guys. So you can see all the different Fed speakers, mostly in this morning and early afternoon, starting with Fed's Paulson and Fed's Hammock, I believe, at Fed's Daily and Fed's Pulse, and it'll be at 10:15. XOM and oil are going to be on watch. These names initially gapping up, unlike the rest of the market, as we did have these ongoing tensions within Iran and the Middle East. Right now, though, oil pushing lower as the market tries to push higher. MRVL, though, continuing its nice upward trajectory. Great pop off the open for this company, which did beat EPS and sales for Q4 2026. Guidance and especially their forward guidance for fiscal 2028 seems to be well received by this market. As we send you back over to Sean and Neil, do remember to like and subscribe.
So we just got out of way too many, but we made our whole day back right there. Like I was not expecting this move, man. We said we wanted it back to VWAP for NVIDIA. We switched up our game. We went short early, obviously. We got stopped out of that one. We put on, it was about 4 units or so because we averaged it in, right? So our first take was at 180, 150. Then we got a little bit more there at 30. And then we got a whole bunch there at VWAP at the price that we have, 81.25. It's actually a little lower. Our stop was going to be 181 break. So if we broke through, man, we were in trouble deep. But, it worked out. And sometimes, it just goes back to that post that I had earlier, man. It's like sometimes you just got to wait and be a little more patient. And that's something for me that I'm trying to change. And once again, today, got involved a little bit early. But that's just excuse narrative. I can control what I'm doing. And we didn't even really get in until, that was 9:31. But, I like the trade against some of these technical levels. What I think I have to do to add to the game plan now, because we're huge, and now it's turning out to be a great day. But what we have to do is actually add the time factor to it, right? And I think that it's, don't just wait for the opportunities to happen. You got to maybe think that the first half hour, first 45 minutes, especially on a jobs day, is going to be kind of a chop fest. And damn, that's kind of what it was right there. Let's check out some of the, so we've liked BBAI, IoT, and yes, BBAI, let's go, man. So now we're finally back to flat, man. You guys know we're long at 420. We've been long at 420 for like a year and a half here. We got some out the first time it went to 850 and change. Now we're gonna wait to see if we can get another double up on Big Bear AI as RAR, that name is, poking its head out there. Marvell, let's go, man. That's gonna be a good idea. This is one of the names that I put on my prediction list for the year. It did have a rough, month and a half, but what a report there for Marvell. And Neil asked me yesterday what I thought of Marvell, and I said, I like ye a lot. And there goes Marvell. So we did not buy ahead of earnings because we're already long that name, but we did make some opportunities there with MRVL. It's a great account. Great name for the account there, Marvell. Let's see if it continues to work out. Apple, let's have a check on that. We did go short initially. If you guys, yeah, let's go. And more moves to the upside there for Nvidia. We did go short on Tesla. Apple 254, downside pretty decently there. Tesla, our first trade. I didn't, and thanks to Adara for sort of confirming everything there because, thanks. She had mentioned that potentially that story about no more Model 3s in Canada was potentially old and, yeah, sorry, not potentially old, is old news. So we traded that as if it was kind of new news. Took a little bit of profit first, then gave it up on the end of it. Not a big deal, but we did lose on that trade. So we have 3 real small losses early, man. It was Occidental, it was the TQs. These are all just shots in the dark, and good thing we got out. And tests, not shots in the dark. I thought they were educated shots, but and then that didn't work out, and then we took a couple of shots on Nvidia and start our day red. But there it is, man. We make it back, and we start to go long now on NVDA, and that one seems to be printing pretty good right now. Good trade if you guys got the lows there on the Nasdaq. And TQQ shorted to VWAP if we get it. I said 49.25 for an early pop, so let's just double check that. 49.25, so we're nowhere near it, but the 200 period does play. And someone put in the chat earlier, it's like, if I could, maybe next time, don't put the sticky note out before the data. And I think that that's obviously very important. It's just, I have kind of a job to do. So the problem is like, I'm looking at these trades before the number comes out. And as the number's coming out, we're scrambling to host. And
I've thought about that too, but then usually what I do is, when I don't think the number's gonna mean anything, if I do think the number's gonna mean anything, I usually will have okay, this stock is a reversal, or this is the level, blah, 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 like the secondary level. But today I genuinely was like, yeah, it's probably not gonna move the market. Let's be real. Like, the betting markets had been so good with this that I actually believed. I started buying into it myself. I'm like, yeah, whatever, they're always nothing burgers. So we'll probably just get a nothing burger, let's not overreact. But at the same time, you also wanna have your plan of action and an idea in mind. You can be flexible. The reason why we sit there talking about everything for an hour is so that we can have the freedom to analyze what's going on in front of you. And ultimately, like, I started the day wanting to be long oil, and now I'm like short this Indo on a consolidation breakdown. Well, it would have been nice if this held VWAP and broke out in squoze and went from $6 to $10 or whatever this high is, like $9. $9 is actually the high. But instead, it broke down, it's consolidating down. I'm gonna play it into the prior high. Like, that's the trade that ended up setting up for Indo. RCAT slow motion is saying, slow motion for me. Slow motion for me. Whoa, it is RCAT. Okay, what's going on with RCAT? Here, except the fact that this is squeezing to the upside. 23%, fresh highs, breakout. Did we miss a story specific to them is the first thing I'm going to check for. Red Cat, nope. I don't see anything, but let's be real. It's in the space that you don't really need. We have tensions going on, so you're in the right space. You can just go squeezing regardless. Hopefully some other defense names are going to be going as well. I'm looking at UAVAV.
Okay, yeah.
Which it's not.
We just got a great, as we turned bullish on Nvidia, we just got 182.75 right there. So we actually get the high of the day right there on Nvidia and really pushed the narrative on that stock. So that's been working out for us so far. But I'm thinking about a short now, as we just said, like, the market has been giving us opportunities to go short right now. And I don't know, like I get the feeling it's a short because of those job numbers, but we are printing all the way back up. I mean, those job numbers came out at 24,850 or so on the Nasdaq. You're back to 24,750, so you're not even really down that much right now, and just trying to figure out if this 200 period, if we should really just trust that, or are we just getting ready? We're above VWAP right now. Like it's almost like you got it. Well, looks like we should have picked our poison on the short there, but you know, definitely a little bit of an opportunity now. I'm thinking to take, and I call them the futures. Obviously, it's a triple lever. This is the TQQs, so much different price action than the Qs. Not different price action. You can see it's exactly the same price action, just different price. And you're going to get a little bit of a different move because it's triple levered. You know, so 1.3, this is down 1.3. The TQs would be down 3.4 or whatever it is. Yeah, 3.9 there as you go 1.39. So there it goes, setting up very, very similarly. I choose this gateway or this venue to trade with. So TQs, definitely missed that opportunity on the short. Not convinced about it, but if you do like it, why not just wait for 48.20 and then give yourselves like 20 or 30 cents to break that trend higher and give yourself a little bit of a stop area there. Yeah, so Nvidia, good out there. I only have, from what we had at the very, very bottom, right now I have 25% left. So that was a decent out up there. How many shares was that? Okay, a decent amount. So we got it of about 15% of our total position up there. And then it faded back out. So yeah, just looking around here, trying to figure out what's going on. I like the short in the Nasdaq. That could have definitely been a trade there. Making a move back for Nvidia. We'll watch out for VWAP, man. I mean, it could come in again. It looks like it's going to come in again right there. So a good out. We will debate reloading it right now as well. Neil's still short Indo, getting his mic fixed. 81. Yeah, so the stop for me is still going to be where it is. I was just looking up at the 5-minute chart as well. There's 81 and change. So the 200 periods, 180.70 on this name. The 50 periods, 181 flat. VWAP down there. So let's take another bid at VWAP and use 181 potentially as our out. That's 180.79 there. So if we lose, maybe we can get out in and around there. But yeah, nice little pullback happening now in the Nasdaq and giving us that opportunity there as well. Okay, someone just put a stock in there. Day one, Dawn Pharmaceuticals there. Oh yeah, this is stock Neil's trading right now. A buyout name, 65% right there, Dawn. So yeah, you guys could have a quick look at that. 81.25. So I'm going to put another bid down here at 81.25. And just to see how far we can go, if we do dip down into that level, we'll buy VWAP one more time. All right, so let's go over and have a quick look at all of the market right here. We're going to go to Adair in 1 second, but this is what the market looks like today. You can't even find green, right? Broadcom, Marvell, IoT. Other than that, man, some energy names trying to push a little bit of the green aspect there. Occidental still down to $53. We got Adair with something.
They're all Middle East related. President Trump reportedly saying that they're moving thousands of people out of various countries throughout the Middle East. It's going to be done, quote, quietly but seamlessly. We also have reports from State TV, the Iranian military, warning the Kurdistan region of Iraq and their government that they will be taking strong action against any move to deploy hostile forces along the Iranian border. So basically, Iran saying, if you deploy hostile forces around our border, we will fight back. Back to you.
Okay, hopefully my mic is back on. It randomly turned itself off, and you guys let me know. I'm just going to assume everyone's hearing me just fine because we got the thumbs up. So a couple of things. I'm still in that Indo trade. Nothing really changed there, but IBIT is still making lower highs, and I want to jump back over to it. Like, it's just trend down. And what's different about it versus the market? Hey, the Nasdaq bounced into VWAP. The Nasdaq bounced into prior lows. IBIT continues to make lows. So it's got to be a short. Maybe just give a little bit more room this time on the trend. Like, give it a little bit above that prior wick if we can grab it. And as I said, Indo still doing more or less the same thing. Like, it's slowly trending down. Once we break the lows, I've got my bids out there in front of the 50, in front of the 40 to just grab that on the way back in here. So we're back into IBIT. We were in it once, and we're going to take a second swing at this particular name. I haven't really looked too much at anything adjacent. Like, I haven't looked at a Robinhood. I was thinking about SoFi, but SoFi's starting to look a little bit stronger. Futures under VWAP, SoFi over VWAP, and starting to break out. I like this for a 1950 short. Obviously, it's $1 away from that, so there's a chance maybe the market gets strong enough that SoFi can get there, and we end up potentially in that trade. And then also, one more for you, Netflix. Remember that 98? Gone. So it does not hold the 98 support. It did for a little bit in the morning and got to 99 again, but you've now lost support and lost a bid on NFLX. If it's going to be a long again off the 98, it's going to have to do some kind of a trend break, maybe a double bottom, some sort of a setup here. Is this looking weak compared to the market? When most of this week it's been relatively strong, and now you're seeing a bit of the opposite. So don't want to jump into this one too early, especially with that bid gone at 98.
Yeah, I like that. All right, so just another move there. We did get Nvidia back to 192, so the hands of diamond apparently are kicking in right now. So let's just wait to see if we do have anything going on with Nvidia. I'm waiting for 182.25 right there. And it's kind of a good thing, I guess, that we didn't really fall too much in love with that futures trade, but it does come right back in and right back there up again. Nice trade if you weren't able to go long down there on the Nasdaq. We sort of looked at that a little bit earlier. Didn't really do much with it, but there it goes right now, the Nasdaq trying to make highs here again on the day. Just the intra-market day. We've actually been higher as we saw that jobs number come through. Again, 4.3 on the unemployment rate. They don't like that one. Or 4.4, sorry, versus 4.3, so we get a little bit of a higher unemployment. Yes, go, man. Let's go. Man, this is going to be a let's go, man. Good trading here as the Nasdaq starts to go a little bit higher. And so, of course, does Nvidia. We just got 25s there. Yes. Okay, man. We're $1 now in the money on that one. We did take our higher print. We'll wait to see if that can come in again. We just missed VWAP, so we were waiting for that print to come in. Hopefully it does. No more. I don't even have any more offers out for this. Let's switch games and see what else is popping off right now. A name that I really want to get involved with now, I feel like, and we talked about Robinhood a few times here on the show. Down 3% might be. I may pull the trigger on some Robinhood there. You mentioned that you might have done it yesterday afternoon. I don't know if you did or not.
Yeah, I grabbed it's about 20% of what I would have bought.
Okay, so not bad.
If I was buying SoFi, the intention was to buy SoFi. I just don't like anything about where SoFi is right now. So I put 20% of that in.
Okay, so I'll probably down 3% today, obviously, on Robinhood. So obviously you're not worried if you only have 20%. I'm not worried about any of this anyways. I will take probably some Robinhood in and around here. Let me just see what the Nasdaq wants to do, obviously. And Bitcoin, right? I mean, Bitcoin downside. If Bitcoin rallies above 70,000 again this weekend, then pretty confident that Robinhood has that ability for sure to get back to the upside. So let's just look at that. When will I get some Palantir?
It just broke the highs.
Yeah,
defense stocks are going ham.
Yeah, well, Palantir, what am I supposed to do? This is already a big name in the account. But yeah, it looks like we're going to finally go green here on Nvidia. I thought potentially Endo was a green stock for you. Other than that, man, this is the only.
Hasn't fallen through.
Yeah, this is the only one that I have.
I'm still in it.
Yeah, me too. So I'm still in this Nvidia, hoping. I'm still not green on it. We have to get green. We got a lot of shares there, but we also basically what we got hit there is what we're making now. So we just needed to get going a little higher in order to make some real money on this play. But what's up, Adara?
As promised, here's our Fed schedule. We do have Fed's Paulson and Daly speaking at 10:15 a.m. So right now, I've already saw apparently Fed's Paulson did not comment on monetary policy. So that's, I guess, a bit of a moot point. But 11:30 a.m. should be interesting because that's Fed Schmid. Fed Schmid, as we know, the individual that voted more hawkishly, not once, but twice in 2025. He will be on at 11:30, so stay tuned during the midday. I'll be here at this desk giving you guys all that news at 1:20 p.m. And then immediately after at 1:30 p.m., you've got Fed's Collins and Fed's Hammock, respectively. Both of these names not super hawkish or dovish, though I will mention Fed's Hammock does kind of tend to skew a little bit more hawkish. Now, in terms of Fed's Daily, just to go back to her at 10:15, she tends to be on the dovish side. Back to you.
Okay, so dovish side. Okay, I need some more doves happening here. Not hopefully when doves cry, so. We'll see if that can come through there as well. I just put an offer now at 182.50 because Nvidia maybe pops up there again, but I was actually waiting for 70s, so hopefully it comes up to 50s and we'll be able to get it there. Hi Neil, happy Friday. All right, so it's for you.
Was VMET the IPO you mentioned yesterday open and
sure.
open? No, it was a MM. Let me just go to the page here. It was supposed to be Mini Med Group today, MMED. So it was not VMET. MMED. Is it? Hopefully this is. know what, maybe it isn't going to come out today. I don't see it in our database. This was the one, MMED was supposed to be last week on Friday, and then got pushed to today, and I don't see it in the database, meaning it actually might not come out today. So it could be another one that's pushed back. And there's a big one next week, PayP. So I'm not aware, I don't know that other one that you're mentioning, but we don't know all of the, like some of the smaller IPOs we're not as interested in.
Okay, we did get that Nvidia trade. All right, let me look to see what else is going on in the market here. We do have the stock visualizer. So we say a big shout out to Fabian right there, who I just saw come in the building. So shout out to you, Fabian. Hope you're doing that well. Oh boy. Oh, right now, man. Really excited that a lot of you are talking about Big Bear AI, man. We talked about that quarter was a decent one, not great. They only turned EPS minus 1 cent. I was really hoping for that plus 1 cent, but it's Big Bear AI right here to the upside and lighting the account on fire as well. It's been so good there. Hopefully some of you are all over that one. I mean, Marvell, Neil asked me yesterday, this is one of my picks. $90, up 18% there for Marvell. Really, really like that stock, and that's a big one in my portfolio. So we've been talking about that one for a year, finally. Netflix looks like we've already talked about it, but that's down 1.3%. It's funny because all these names, like I can really tell the way, there's the VIX, by the way, up 13% today. I think that's probably overdone. I would be shorting the VIX at 26 bucks if that's what it's at. That seems too high to me. And then
it's at 27, not
right.
26.
So I would short that. I think that's coming back in. And then the other thing too is most of you guys, obviously, we all like it when the market goes long. Not any of these names. I mean, Nvidia's here because I'm probably trading it, so I don't know if you guys are asking about that, but that's the only name that I'm in right now. And then everything else is pretty much up, right? I mean, we had that good Tesla story. Tesla not a good one, but Tesla underneath 400, that's a red name there on the board. Netflix is a red name, and after that, there's nothing else, man. I mean, the SPY, I was just talking a little bit about the Qs. Yeah, I mean, there's like, everything is just ripping upside today. So you guys... Up? Yeah, Battle's up. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's only 2 red stocks that they want us to look at. Netflix and...
that's a weird one.
Whatever the other one was that I was talking about there. So yeah, anyways, nice day today. Good outs again there at 50 again on Nvidia. It just keeps on failing. Look, man, this market's at a very interesting spot. We could go short here, actually.
Oh yeah, so Battle technically is up, but I knew it wasn't strong. That's what was sort of surprising me. Battle made its high at 9:30 and is already starting to pull back. So it's back at 25. It still needs. Remember, Battle needs to squeeze through this $30 level. We talked about this yesterday. Once it does that, then the hedgies really start to wet their pants. So hopefully they got the brown ones, but. It just goes into the same level and can't seem to break on through. We've got the small cap recap where I probably just talked about one of them, and we'll see what else is moving with the Dara.
I think you mentioned BATL there, Neil. That one is not on this list. So people will get 3 other small caps, though one of them is absolutely one we have discussed a lot this week. Let's start here with EONR. This one is going to continue the theme of the small cap plays today and really all week, where a lot of them are kind of related to the conflict in Iran. And by that, I mean they're all defense and or oil related. EONR, of course, being a resource name, that's going to be an oil related play. Eon Resources. This is just kind of trading higher overall in sympathy with oil. PRSO, though, does have its own story, and it is a defense and drone-related play, so nice look here. And, of course, a very timely look for Payrolls. Payrolls announcing that their 60 gigahertz millimeter wave technology has been selected for next-generation drone identification system with military applications. Last but not least, we know it. I don't know if we love it, but it's Trio Petroleum, TPET. This name here, they are, of course, an oil-related place. They've been moving all week with regards to the Middle East situation. But today, or as of yesterday, after the close, rather, they did file an amendment number 3 to their prospectus supplement with regards to the number of shares available for sale. It's going to be $4 million worth of shares available for sale. Back to you.
4 million.
Thank you, Dara. Again, like I said, I'm surprised that Battle's not on the list, but
Battle is on the list.
Well, on the names to go over. But again, stock, it's the entire group that's been really good. And it's actually the defense. I think the defense small cappers like the RCATs are actually a little bit more exciting today out there. So I'm going to slap a trail on this INDO at this point. Like it's the consolidation break happened. You're putting in some lower highs. It managed to get to the prior day resistance to potentially turn into support. So if it does that, then we're going to trail out of this one, cancel one stop, put the next one in. Man, Netflix doesn't look like it wants to participate, but it's not over yet for Netflix. It just tried to, you've got a bottoming tail candle. It's not a huge amount of volume. Like there's no big volume spike with that bottoming tail candle, but it is trying to break trend. And that 98 level is where it's trying to break the trend line. So I'm just gonna save that. On the 3-minute, if we can break this out at 98, I like that into VWAP and then see if you can go for more. It'll probably help that the futures are able to bust through the volume weighted average price in addition as well. Rohin is throwing into BBAI as well.
Okay,
But Rob is here?
Yeah, I was like, dude, have a great weekend and all this kind of stuff. And then
That's why I went to get the coffee because you said he wasn't here.
Yeah. Well, you see the chat. I mean, I literally, thanks, Rob. Anyways, awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah, he's here. And then
I'm good. I grabbed one.
Yeah. Thank you, Rob. And we told you that Rob's sort of MO is these Christmas cups or these fancy cups. And today, Christmas spirit is abound. So
well, that's what I just have the regular.
Yeah, well,
TV because I went to grab.
Don't tell Rob, but we're supposed to use these mugs. But
oh yeah, we were specifically told.
Well, forget about being told. I mean, I just.
No, but I use the. No, I like the Yeti.
Oh yeah, I have the Yeti too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's right. We love the Yetis, man. Okay, so thanks, Rob. Because he's like, oh, there's no IT here today, because Rob's in IT support with Randy and all that kind of stuff. So Randy, obviously, if it's a Friday, he's not here. And then Rob goes, oh, there's no one from IT here. So I just, you know me, I'm just like, oh, that's great, like in the chat. And then because I'm fine if there's not, they can do everything remote anyways.
Oh,
we got the master of IT sitting over there. We got Fabian in the building now. So. My worries are now abated because Fabian is here. But at the end of the day, thanks, Rob, for that. So, okay, look, and then we also have, of course, you always have to do a little bit of Hydration Nation. So we hit this. This is one of the original sort of animatronic animations. They're not animatronics. Oh, you didn't see Five Nights at Freddy's yet, did you?
No, I added it to my list.
Those are animatronics.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. No,
Those Chuck E. Cheese.
You know what?
How you have the. I used to really like Chuck E. Cheese.
Maybe I downloaded and watched it on the flight. That's
I think it's easy. It's like an hour and a half. It's like a chill. And I just got a note, actually. I know you're worried about it.
If you like to read baseball.
One of my baseball coaches.
No,
it's fine. He just said, make sure you check all your drains and everything this weekend because the ice is melting.
I'm mildly worried about it. We had some flooding last year.
I know.
I don't like the fact that I'm leaving when we could get flooding in the basement.
Well, your parents are close and.
My pops is close.
Yeah, you can always, if there's any problems, you can just call Brendan. He'll just
don't like
come over
putting
and fix
stuff
it all
on
for you.
like
So I wouldn't worry about it. Brendan will be on at your doorstep.
I'm supposed to go to his place when they have issues, not the other way around, kind of deal.
Your parents?
Yeah, my dad's old now. I don't want.
Yeah, but he can solve it. He can call somebody for you or
exactly.
Check to see if the leakage has happened or whatever. Hopefully, I don't think it will, man. Don't worry about it.
We'll probably be fine.
I don't think it's supposed to be raining, but I don't know.
Well, now the rain has shifted to when we're taking off. So
yeah,
like now I'm actually worried. Like it's supposed to get a lot of rain tomorrow.
Exactly. I mean, rain is fine for flight. You don't want too windy or anything like that.
Oh, you can fly in the rain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I've had some. There was one time I was going down to Miami, and we had turbulence so bad coming into Miami that the plane ran out of barf bags. That's how bad it was.
How the hell
there were people openly praying. Like I'm talking about, like as we're like doing this, there were people praying, and some lady was praying in Spanish. I knew you could tell when someone's praying. I couldn't understand what she was saying, but I knew she was praying. And on the flight back,
we had a rosary in her hand.
We had the same flight attendants on the way back, and I overheard one of them saying, "Man, I thought that was it." I'm like, you can't say that in the earshot of passengers.
I thought that was it.
I don't want to hear that nonsense, man. Trying to tell me I thought that was it.
Well, Neil, we're all going to die at one point.
No. It wasn't even that bad. I was chilling. Like, I was reading my book.
Never know when that's going to be.
I didn't think it was that bad.
No, of course not.
But
I thought that was it.
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit of a weird thing to say while you're actually, like, they were loading.
But you overheard, so.
And I overheard it. They didn't intend for me to hear.
Right, so.
You shouldn't say stuff like that, though.
It's probably okay.
If you're a flight attendant. Or,
Flight attendant 101.
Or anything.
All right, I'm still in the same trade. I don't know what you're working with.
Netflix just broke trend, hopefully, for the rest of the day. And full disclosure, we bought some Netflix in the 80s. And it was a bit too early. I always do this, and then I have to go to the daily chart over here on.
Did Nancy Pelosi buy BBAI? I don't know. Someone said in the chat.
If you look at Netflix on the daily, it's a very nice move, obviously breaking trend, Warner Brothers, blah, blah, blah. The deal is now going to be Paramount Skydance. But you're going to put in, you're going to put in a hard top right now at that $100 mark on Netflix. So I think like a secondary push probably fills in that gap to the 200. That could be a next week thing. But at least for now, I was looking for that VWAP trend break. So if we play into the volume weighted average price here, great. Once we spike up a little bit and I take some out, I am going to move my stop underneath, like from prior bar. I want to be able to move it into the current bar just because it's so counter trend here on Netflix. But yeah, it has stalled out at that $100 level. So I think you're looking more scalp trades than anything else. Because when you lose a major level like $100 on a Friday, I tend to give that some respect, right? Like you're going to have a wall there on a Friday at $100. I don't know that you flat bottom break and completely lose the bid, but 95 is a possibility if it does. So for now, it's just a trend break trade on NFLX. I haven't been trailed out of Indo, so it's probably doing the same thing as before. It did make a bit of a bid, but I guess it didn't break it didn't hit my trail, which I guess is at 60, closer to break even, but closer to like 67, 68, I believe, on INDO. It might be worth a reload. I could reload this if we regain underneath the trend line and then just tighten up the stop, but I'm not at that point yet on INDO. As far as SoFi goes, that's still looking pretty strong. My bias is short on SoFi, and it's starting to give me pull back into VWAP. There's your higher lows. It's starting to set up some kind of a trend break, which is the time of day that I look for that. And it pulled back into the prior. Oh, I like that. Bang, double bottom there. So resistance from support and breaking the trend line. Yeah, this could be an entry for me in SoFi. The original plan would have been to short $19.50. We're not going to see $19.50, barring some kind of minor miracle on SoFi.
All right, what's up to TT Moss there? Yeah, I just tweeted it out as well, man. I am very, very excited. You guys can go over to at Trader TV, Sean. Thanks, man. We just hit 56.5 thousand as we get ready for Maple Leaf trade deadline day, and I'll be updating you guys if anything winds up happening. But yeah, we are enjoying this BBAI recent move up, and just asking anybody else, well, bless you, if anybody else is in it. Yeah, there it is. Charlie's in this name, so we're gonna say good job. And Johan says nope, so we'll go womp womp. But maybe it doesn't mean it's going higher, but there it is. So BBAI today trying to go just a little bit. And if we're gonna look at the chart here for Big Bear AI, I mean, for me it's Marvell that's really been something special for me today. But Big Bear AI up 8, we like that trade. Just reporting a couple days ago, this is basically the 3rd-day rule. You would have bought it yesterday if you're doing the day 3 rule, which we talked about. And it just looks like it's sort of barcoded a little bit down there. Now you're getting the bump higher. Look, I'm not going to celebrate anything until 5. I think it might be worth taking out 20, like that would be 20% in the money if it hits 5. So we could go $5, take a little bit out. And then I don't even know about 6. I think if we can start to go, then we look at 650, and then we do what we did before, right? This is how I got into this name. I got into it on this move. We saw Big Bear AI do this. That really got me interested in the name. And then as it came back, we bought the dip all the way down, and then we sold it all the way back up. We didn't do anything on this recent move down. So right now we're just trying to hold on to the position that we've had for a while. Big Bear AI right there, up 8%. So we like that. There was somebody, Adara, who bought Big Bear AI. It was somebody, you reported it yesterday or a couple days ago. It wasn't Nancy Pelosi, but it was somebody, and we'll get Adara.
It might have been Lisa McLean.
That's who, I think that's who
I think it was her.
It was somebody who I had no idea who they were. So, yeah, so shout out to.
Could have said that like we're supposed to know who that is.
You don't know who Lisa McLean is? Wow.
John McClane's.
That's what I was going to say. Is it from
Die
Die Hard?
Is
that
what
from
was
Die
John
Hard?
McClane's wife again? What was her name?
Lisa.
It wasn't.
No, I know. But anyways, Marvell up 19% right now and going higher. IoT as well, up 15%. So these are two positions that I actually have sort of in like the tax-free account. So we may have to ring some registers at some point here today as the market go boom right there. And it's a good thing we did not short. We were talking about maybe shorting at VWAP, but we saw strength in some of these markets, and we're going to stay away from the short as Nvidia right back up to 182. Like, I'm waiting for when moon, man. I'm asking this stock, when moon? 182.70. I'm going to have an offer right there for NVDA. What's up, eh?
I think John McClane's wife might be Holly, but I've never seen the movie, so I could totally be wrong on that. I want to mention here AVAV and LASR. These are kind of these drone laser-related plays. AVAV, which is one of Neil's picks for the year, and they report next week. They're doing obviously quite a bit better on this news than LASR, but it looks like the Defense Department of the U.S. Announcing that they're conducting counter-drone laser tests. So laser-related plays, guys. Back to you.
Well, they're bringing all kinds of stuff out of the woodworks for these. They got these like they're supposed to be this like EMP shield type idea. So I don't know if you can find some companies that do that, where it's like you put up some kind of electromagnetic. Shield's the only word. There's probably an actual technical term to describe it. And then it disrupts the drone, so it'll protect like key stuff. But I don't know any companies. I don't know the companies that do that. But that's the new idea.
Whatever company made the discombobulator, that's
the discombobulator would be a good one.
I think that was Big Bear AI. So.
Yeah. Just one thing, I suppose selling at VWAP may have been the wrong decision, but that was the plan of action. It was a trend break into the volume weighted average price. There was a bunch of resistance at first resistance, and then I got out at the 98.5. So it was like a 50-cent scalp idea trade, where we had a relatively tight risk, but it is going. And if it puts in a stair step to the upside, the next step would be to hold VWAP. But I do have to remind myself, it's 10:30. What do things look like on the 15-minute? Like I want the next setup to look good on the 15-minute. And a lot of times you don't really see, like that's a really tricky entry on the 15-minute chart. Like later in the day, yesterday, is when you got the next relatively clear look on a 15, and that was at 2 o'clock. So I can be patient with another look on Netflix. And even if it continues to go, my gut tells me you don't break 100 today. So I think any secondary long, you're waiting for $100 to be able to get out. So hopefully Indo can get down. I think we'll get it to the 530-ish area. But we have our trailing stop on that. SoFi was the other name. It's putting in not a topping tail, but let's call it like a reversal candle on this 15 minutes. So if that does hold up in the next 10, I might take a shot at this one to the short side in lieu of what we were trying to get this morning, which was like a 19.3, 19.4 short. Let us know what other names you guys are looking at, because you guys in the chat, like, wasn't really paying attention to that RCAT. You guys got a good one. But this is putting in its second, well, it got a red candle at the top, but it's trying to put in another. Up 20 points today. And holding, nice little bull flag here. This could have a little bit of continuation potentially.
RCAT, okay.
RCAT. Who's no, was it Mitch?
I don't know. Mitch gave a bunch of stocks yesterday, and most of them went. I was just wondering if he was talking about short or long, because he had talked about.
Because he was talking about the defense.
Yeah, all those names like KTOS and all those other names there yesterday. He had some ideas on those. I have no idea if he was talking about long or short. I don't know.
Well, hopefully it was long. If it was short, then probably not in. Probably not in anymore.
No, of course not. I mean, these guys are never in losing positions.
Well, you can't. No one holds. Well, I don't know. Only hedgies hold shorts that blow up that much, in my opinion, because they can. Like the weird thing is, regular traders when they short, something's up 20%, you're probably out of it. You take the L. Hedge funds, the hedgies that short this stuff, it goes up 20%. They're like, let's get more.
But that's why nobody does what we do, because
that's the difference.
People they don't have to show their trades real time.
Yeah, you got to show
one of those things. I mean, I know for a fact that Mitch was talking about Eli Lilly yesterday being long over $1,000, and that obviously did not work out.
Oh, okay.
Oh, me too. Yeah, Eli Lilly's one of my.
I just saw Derek clapping. I'm like, something happening.
Yeah, I was actually just reviewing. Yeah, I know. We know you like Lilly over there, and this is what's going on right now. As we can update this little game of ours here. Oh. All right, I updated it, and it kind of, now you can't even really read it there. I don't know what I did there. All right, I don't know why that did that, but all right.
You're the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was different a couple minutes ago. But anyways, 30% right there. Obi's up, so that's a great, man. He has that BW stock. I think it's all BW. Plus he's short. Anyways, he shorted Sidhu, and it's not really allowed, but I don't know if that is what that even price is right now. Adara with a legitimate 8%, so that's a great one there. As Adara has the short here in Oracle, long in Boeing, which I really like. The Starbucks is a great call. That's up 8%. The Oracle short is 22% right there for Adara. I'm back from the dead here a little bit, as we have Marvell up 8%. There's your Eli Lilly down 10% from when we made that call. And then Big Bear AI still down 30%. Neil down 40% with AVAV. CRISPR down up 2. FCX up 4. Sharif, I think, has pretty mixed results. He's going to be about flat. Broadcom down, which is funny because Marvell's up. I preferred, even when he made that Broadcom call, I think I already made the Marvell one. Joe only has one green stock, and that's Walmart, so he likes Walmart there. But JP Morgan, obviously, and CrowdStrike, so both, again, pretty chalk names there for the financials and the cybersecurity. Adara, Brendan will go, and then we'll get back to trading. Brendan red on them all as well. IREN down 20, Tesla down on 12, Constellation down 2. So that's just a little bit of an update on our stock portfolio tracker. Obi will be with me all next week. As Neil's gone to spring training. Okay, 182 and change there. It sucks that there's going to be no, I know how much Aaron likes Vladdy, but that's okay.
For me, I love seeing the prospects. So like, that's the best thing about spring is seeing the players that we don't see all year long.
Yeah, we're going to go short here on TQQs and potentially get around this $49 mark. But I don't know, man. Is the market going to go green or what right now?
At this point, it seems like...
You know what? I'm going to cancel that TQQ look. I mean, we had written it down here 49.25 on our sticky note. We tried it down here when I thought maybe remember I was talking about maybe a chance of breaking that low. We went short when it didn't. We got out, I guess, at the 50-period moving average there. So we were in and out of that. I mean, I wish I would have thought about short. I was just thinking, long. I was thinking short as we did not get a great number. We didn't get much happening, and it was a downside push. And then the market just, as it seems to normally always do, the market definitely getting it back upside. So we're $1 now in the money as we've just been sitting here in Nvidia. I cannot believe it's almost 1040. You're almost going to get what's for lunch pretty soon. There goes Nvidia. We just took a piece out at 182.20. We're going to try to get this out now at 182.70. But we do have news I just heard with Adara. So if you want to go back there, Andre.
We have news. I'll do sector watch while I'm here because it is more or less 10:40 a.m. New York Times reporting that Iran is delaying naming a new leader due to security concerns. I mean, we know President Trump has said he wants to play a role in whatever leadership is put into place in Iran. Not a massive story, but just letting you guys know, no new leader going to be named at this time due to concerns about security of said leader. Let's take a look here at, if I can set it up, the stock heat map. As Sean mentioned, nary a green name to be found in a lot of these sectors. But let's start with just what looks maybe the worst hit right now, and it's actually transportation getting hit pretty hard. Fuel costs could be a concern, especially for names that are getting really hit today, like FedEx and UPS. DoorDash, a little bit to the downside, but DAL, of course, any of these like travel and or driving names in transportation, it's not going to be a good look, with the exception of Newmont. Non-energy minerals getting hit really hard. Consumer services struggling, producer manufacturing struggling, health tech, consumer non-durables. Retail trade, with the exception of Costco, to the upside on earnings day one. Finance is going to be right here. In electronic tech, we do have some strength. Broadcom earnings day 2. Boeing, LMT, RTX, so anything in the defense space is going to be relatively strong. But the rest of the sector not faring too well. Tech services is interesting. A lot of these names are actually flat. And you do have, again, that SaaS attempt for the SaaS revival, if you will. Oracle, ACN, ServiceNow, Palantir, CrowdStrike, and Datadog, all to the upside. Meta and Netflix notably red today. Back to you, and do make sure to like and subscribe.
Thank you very much there, Dara. As Joe is, I don't know why he's covering up the bald brotherhood over there. Why you gotta wear a toque, brother? It's not that cold in here. It's warming up. It's getting warm in here. Joey Shiver's always complaining about the cold. I'm not gonna complain about it. But how am I gonna segue this to energy? Well, you know what? Warming yourself has got a lot more expensive if you happen to be in Europe, that's for sure, and hopefully not everywhere else. We tried the VWAP long into the prior low. That was a fail on Oxy. It doesn't look like that's going to regain the bid. You're actually trending down on a lot of the oil names. And here, let's just go to USO. That's really the easiest thing to do. Instead of me typing in like oil futures, like look at USO, trend up, right? So when you see that on Oxy and I see USO trend down, do I have XOM on my list? Here, you could see CL as well if you want to look at the oil futures trend up. So Oxy is going the exact opposite. What that leads me to believe, I know I'm short this name, But if the trend holds in oil futures, I do think there's going to be a long somewhere. And we just came into the low. Forget about the trend line. You bounced off of this prior day high. I'm looking to take this out. I just don't think Indo is the one for the long, but it does make sense. Just had a bit of a bottom tail at the target level. And I want to look for a small capper or something that's going to actually care about what oil futures are doing. Right, so I don't think it's this because it's been the weaker one, but I want to look for one of these ones that could be a little bit stronger. Certainly, Occidental doesn't fall into that category today. Look at CVX, man. Like you saw those charts of U.S. oil futures, and they were straight up. But look at the dump fest that it was on CVX and Oxy and XOM off of the open. So I want to try to find one of these other ones that might be good. Okay, so there's a halt that was just put in the chat there, TVGN. Here, DeMarcus in the chat, or DeMar Francis. This halt on TVGN, probably not a name that most people are going to be trying to actually trade. 130,000 shares have traded in an hour and change. Yeah, that is about as big of a no-fly zone as possible. If you're at real trading, I bet you it's blocked. It shouldn't be available for trade with that small amount of liquidity because you couldn't control risk even remotely if you happen to be in it. So yeah, there is a halt up there on TVG. It's the only thing that I think that's halted this morning and not looking that interesting. It was, MOBX was also another small capper, but it can't seem to regain the dollar, so that'll be a bit disappointing. I'm gonna try to hunt for something in that small cap oil space that might be following the actual oil futures to the upside. Everything else is down.
Yeah, I mean, here's oil at 89.10 right now, and I was actually thinking myself about get a little Occidental in my life one more time here because we tried the long there. Now I'm actually thinking about a short as we get underneath VWAP here, and that VWAP touch happened, and then we fell back down in, and it's not like it's moving that violently here today, and potentially it will. If the market can turn around a bit here for oil, back to the downside, then I think that you could get this little bit of a move. But why did this trade like that? Because today, oil didn't have, I guess maybe they had that little bit move down from 89 to 87.50. What time was that at? Right, so that was right at 10 o'clock. So what did this do at 10 o'clock? Again, yeah, nothing. And that was early. That was 9:30. That move down. So yeah, maybe potentially a short trade somewhere for Occidental here today. Yeah, Palantir, you guys looking for a short on Palantir? I see in the chat. What's up, Barton? There. Yeah, maybe. I mean, you'd like to see this break, obviously, if we're going to talk about a short right now. It's looking like, I mean, we touched, oops, get off of this. It was a touch there. And then again, and it looks like right now we're trying to do it. It means nothing in here, but just this little trend that's happening now back into 154. I think that's reasonable to get $1 out of this trade if it's available. And then I kind of like the long around 154 rather than the short. But okay, yeah, good look out there. We'll see if the futures can take out 25,000. We're about 150 points away. We bounced off there yesterday. What's up, Adara?
Watch out for Microsoft here, MSFT on watch. I mean, this stock could just be a technical rejection, but it is worth noting because it's moving around a little bit. Microsoft 365 announcing they are investigating an issue that's impacting their services for certain customers within North America. They announced that via a post on X. Back to you.
Thanks, Adara. On the rail, we got a super chat. I don't think we did this one, so let's throw it up here for you. You're expecting or hoping. Well, hope is not what you usually want. Airline stocks to bounce off this Iran deal. If this Iran deal gets over with, my oil gains paying for my airline losses, robbing Peter to pay Paul. You know what? Sometimes that's how it is, man. I feel like if you've been like the Mag 7 felt like that way for months. It's like, okay, like when Apple and Google were strong for a minute, that'd be paying for the other ones that were weak, or I guess Tesla would be a better example of the strong ones. But I do see your point. That said, I like airlines as trades. I've never actually, in my long-term account, owned an airline because I just don't like the space. I feel like they go from crisis to crisis and consolidation to consolidation. So when they're trending, they can be great for trades. It's just the uptrend got broken in most of these, and it's a matter of like where it's going to come back in. Like you're just like, I'm putting up Delta because that seems to usually be one of the better ones. charting-wise and performance-wise. And you can still see it. Broke the trend. It's now under the 200. There just hasn't seemed to be a bottom, but you are coming into, theoretically, one at the 56. So these are very, very respectful of trend, usually for a longer period of time. You can see that in the chart. And you don't have to be early when they start trending in one direction. This is a daily chart. Like, look at how it's like, it's just boom, 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 and you happen to be pulling back. So once it starts going back in an uptrend, let it make a higher low or something, and then you join at that point. I just don't like catching a falling knife in the airlines. And who knows how long this is gonna play out? I don't have a clue. Just because they say 3, 4, 5 weeks or whatever it's supposed to be. I mean, when was the last time you ever felt confident about somebody saying a military conflict was gonna last a certain period of time? Spoiler alert, never. Absolutely never.
Yeah, you never know.
It's never that simple.
We did a little petite reload here. Not much, man, but we did try it there. I'm still waiting for view up. I'm at 40s here on Nvidia. I just in being a little impatient. It's not. That's what I was saying, just small, right? We'll put on about a unit or so. If it breaks down into 180, 140, we'll see if we can put a little bit more if that comes through. And then I was just gonna drop it out. Honestly, if we broke through this, I think my stop's at 30. Yeah, so break basically of 20s, kind of down to where we got that last fill. So if we break below 25, then we're gonna get out of it and just call it a day there on Nvidia. I mean, we tried this thing. We've just been getting out, and it's just been kind of ugly, not doing too much there. Let's check back in on Barton there. Mentioned 155, looks like a good short there. So boom, nice move there for PLTR back into the downside. So great little call on that one. And I think we did a good call too on the Nasdaq. We were debating taking that, we didn't. And then this is why we were debating it. I mean, even as this number hit, man, I was like sort of sitting here saying kind of the same thing again. And that is that like, wasn't certain that we weren't going to climb right back to where we were pre-number, and that's exactly what happened, and that was the fade spot there. So feel pretty confident that might happen again the next time we get sort of a number. So we'll have a quick look to see if that can print out for us next time, because we did miss it, but a pullback into view up is getting me a little excited down there, and maybe we do catch some kind of hands down here and we can buy. So I'm going to try to buy Nvidia right there, but it's a great call there. So shout out to you in the chat there, and props up, because there's Palantir, and you nailed that one, my guy. So good job there. All right, here comes Nvidia back into 150. We'll buy a little bit here. I'm actually at 181.40s, I just realized, even though VWAP has changed a little bit for us. So we'll take a little piece there. If it still comes into 40s, we'll grab it. I'll feel bad that we don't grab the whole boat, but I'm still gonna wait for that price, be a little patient, and then lose it if it drops through 30, and then we'll give it a go on NVDA. Still up on this trade for now. Long rate, there it is. We just get our last fill. And if this goes 20 cents lower from here, man, which it looks like it's trying to do right now, then we are going to get out, man. Nvidia feeling some pressure now to the downside. We're only going to hold this for a 20-cent hit. If this breaks through 20s, we're gone. You know, we watched this thing mature up. Now it's trying to fade back out as the futures are losing VWAP. Downside play here for the Nasdaq. So I don't think there's any surprise that Nvidia loses when Nasdaq loses. So there it is, man. Looks like we're going to get stopped out here on a break of 181.20, which is why we were able to get out. We told you we have 1 unit right now on Nvidia, so it's not a huge trade. We had about 4 on that retracement back up, but we'll see what happens here. Long at 181.40, about to get stopped out here on there it is, on NVDA. So we'll flush ourselves down the toilet there on Nvidia at that last little look, and just say nice call on those shorts up there, man. That was a good one. Yeah, there goes Nvidia right back in, right into VWAP for the futures too.
Yeah, the market's starting to come back. I think I like this TPET. So it did something similar to that Indo, like INDO, which trended down. And I wanted something in the space which is stronger. So INDO fills in the gap, all that kind of good stuff. And then TPET holding on to $2. Okay, so psychological level. On the dip from the high yesterday, it was a big hold at 2 and then an all-day trend break at $2. So I got downtrend into that $2. As long as it can hold 2, break back above the trend line, this will be the one. If we continue any strength in oil futures, this will be the small capper I'm going to like for a breakout, but it's going to have to break this trend or I'm not going to be involved in it. That's what I think is going to be next. But next for you guys is going to be money talks.
Ooh, money talks. Okay, means I got to get the lunch ready.
I know not nearly as exciting a segment as what's for lunch, but you can use money to buy lunch. So let's get into this money talks. U.S. dollar continuing to consolidate in an interesting little way here near that prior area of resistance. That's going to be that January 15th kind of area of that 99 halves. Now, of course, we actually breached that as of Tuesday, March 3rd. Since then, again, trying to decide if we want to pull back or continue to push higher. Today, the dollar pushed higher, even though the market did not when we got this economic data. March 6th, 2026 economic data run, the biggest number going to be right up here. That's going to be the non-farm payrolls for February 2026, negative 92,000 versus the estimate of 55,000, prior print of 130,000 that's since been revised down to 126,000. Unemployment rate right below it, as you can see, also not really what the market was looking for or hoping for. 4.4%, that's going to be higher than the estimate in prior of 4.3%. You can find this whole rundown on X at TTV Research. You can also find, I guess it's not up here, Fed speakers here on X at TTV Research. In roughly 40 minutes now, we're going to get Fed's Schmid. He'll be speaking at 11:30 a.m. As I've mentioned, he does really tend to go to the hawkish side of things. 1:20 p.m. and 1:30 p.m. you'll get Fed's Collins and Hammock, respectively. 10:15 a.m. nothing much came of this. I didn't hear any comments from Daly, and Fed's Paulson didn't speak on the economic outlook at all. But Fed's Goolsbee at 9:50 a.m. was kind of an interesting one. He came out here and he said this number certainly wasn't what we wanted. He said he'll be more concerned if they get more numbers like that. He said he is still optimistic they could potentially start cutting rates by the end of the year. So it seems like the timing of this rate cut is a little bit more uncertain. Again, though, it does seem like a lot of these Feds want some kind of rate cut to happen before we ring out 2026. Back to you.
There for that little update there. So we are back in a little bit now. Well, first trade actually. First trade off VWAP. We were in futures right there, but I'm going to consider this kind of like my first go at it. So we'll wait to see here. 48. We're long right now at 48.13s on the TQQs, and we have about 3 units. So a decent trade. This is, these are the trades that and I don't have a problem telling you guys, where I am on the units, right? I told you on that video we had 1 right now because this came into VWAP. Could be a good hold. The momentum has been up here. We do get a fade out a little bit. We saw names like Palantir come back in, names like Nvidia come back in. So, if this wants to fade, fine. We're going to stop out on a break of 48, give it a little bit of time there to see if it can work itself out. So we'll take 10 cents at this 22, 23 level, and then just try to hold, again, if we get, that's the 50 period is at 40. So if we can get that, that's great. Then we got another look at 50. So right now my next offer is at 48.30, and then we'll go to 48.50, and then we say, let's see if we can relook at some of those highs again for the day. But, as Adara said, I think the Money Talks is maybe even a better segment than What's for Lunch, because Adara said, you make money on one, the other one costs you money. There's 48.30. Let's go, man. The face slapper's there. So we'll get excited about the oh, yeah, let's go. Okay. What's for Lunch can wait right now. So I got to get some more offers out right here. That's going to be a good price right now. We'll take a 45 there, and we'll let to see where this thing goes. Hopefully more upside for that, as this is a good trade. A good trade. We talked about putting on some risk here. There goes the futures. Nice move to the upside. So, Neil, we go back to the futures. Oh, now we're at 60s. Okay, Lunch, you can wait, my guy, but I'll take out another play, and that's enough. All right. What is on menu today?
Well, you've already said to me.
Yes, Neil's is already very aware. This is the Thai flag, so flag of Thailand, and normally it's pretty good. My only thing about when we get this is the taste is never off. Sometimes it's the quality of the chicken and or the cook on the chicken.
I feel like that's always how it is.
You look at chicken, you see a color that is a rosy Thai red curry chicken today. So I'm going to say hot dog cannon.
Yep.
Fire that off right there. I think there's a good opportunity for that to be good. Stir-fried veg, steamed jasmine rice, and of course the infamous mixed green salad. So, wow.
Nvidia here.
Yeah, man, we are really face slapper right now. Look at that trade off the TQQs, man. And this is exactly what we mentioned in our tweet yesterday. It was wait for these opportunities, wait for pullbacks, play your lines. VWAP is mine. Shout out to Brian Shannon. You don't need to be no CMT or whatever. Just trade off VWAP and you're good to go. Thank you, Brian, a great CMT that has written a couple books on VWAP. VWAP and anchored VWAPs, and there it goes, man. But I've been trading VWAPs for 20 years, but there it is right there. Boom, goes the dynamite. And we said, let's go back up to day's high. So we're putting up some numbers for everybody today. I hope you guys are all good on that one. But yeah, that was a pretty good morning. Needless to say, man, it's 10:57 right now.
Yeah, only a couple minutes to go. It's a lot better in the second half of the morning than the first, because like that's where the winners came in on some of the backside. But at the end of the day, I actually heard something about Nvidia, but I think it was just spiking into the highs. There was no actual story on Nvidia. The news guys just said it was at the high of the day, which is exactly where it is. Sometimes it's annoying when they do that. I feel like you should tell us if it's a story or not. But I'm going to wait for, again, be patient. I'm going to wait for one thing. When the market's been going up, some of the energy names have been coming to the downside, so that means continuation on that TPT. It'll be a fail of having gotten out of Indo, but I'm looking for the curl here if there ends up even being one. But unfortunately, you continue to go down. I do prefer this one short. So if we continue the trend down, it's INDO that I would play, and it's just this, whatever, you guys get the idea. It's channeling down, I could draw that better, but lower highs and lower lows is the easy way to put it. So rejoining the trend to try to play back into $5 would be the next way to go about it. Oh my goodness, I just saw in the chat there. Merck has TPET killed shareholder value with an offering. So one thing to keep in mind with offerings, remember that it was Battle, BATL the other day. They dropped an offering and it's right back to where it was before. Sometimes momentum and squeeze momentum can overcome that. Not always, but sometimes it can. So I don't want to say in the short term there's always going to be potential opportunities for trades, but it's not necessarily dead just because of an offering. But I do think, like, because TPET, I think it's just a technical trade. If it happens, it happens. If we break this trend, I'm going long. I could care less about the offering or not. The same way if it was a trend break yesterday, look what happened when it broke the all-day trend. If it can do the same thing today, then I take the reverse. Just try to keep it simple and trade your strategy, that's all.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I wanted to say. That's why I put this up right there, and congratulations to you, NorCal Granger there. You caught the move on the TQs. So there it is, man. If you guys are copy trading or whatever, congratulations, because that's a good one right there back into view up. And, Neil can't put it any better than what I had just said before, and that was trade your plan, and that comes right into, we were waiting, and not only were we waiting, I mean, we worked our way through this trade with all of you, it was coming back in, and we're like, let's see what winds up happening there. Now, we did get punched out of Nvidia. So that was a VWAP right there as well. So we tried that one. That did not work. Quick out there on Nvidia, as quick as you like. It does hold, man. We could have, I probably would have got stopped out anyways at 181, which it does wind up breaking. And then it just shoots up $1. So, Nvidia, fine. Well, you got me. But, at the end of the day, we picked our poison there and we nailed it with the futures. So we'll still be able to hold on to this one with only 5 seconds left right now. Just looking to see what we can do, what's left. I mean, if this breaks back down below VWAP, that could be our out. So I think we have a pretty decent spot there to get out with if there's any problems. So that would be something for me to look at. And other than that, though, congratulations. I think it's been a great morning. Guys, we are going way over here right now, Joe. Like way, way over.
It's only 20 seconds.
Guys, yeah. I mean,
it's now 24 seconds.
Everybody, this is why I'm
going
here.
Higher.
So we are way, this is actually a long time for me, Fabian. There he is, 30 seconds past. All right, good day. You'll see both Neil and I at 2 p.m. Thanks, Fabian, Andre, Adara, for everything. Thanks, Sharif. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Brendan. We're out of here. It's almost 11:01. This is almost unheard of right now. Well, you guys owe us a lot of time on that side
3 seconds.
right now. Joe, I hope you got some of the longs, man. We'll see what he's got soon. Ciao till 2.